You're listening to the Pittsburgh Piledriver. What the hell is that? Podcast.
Welcome, all you jagoffs and jerkheads. This is the P3 Podcast. We're coming off the heels of one of the best wrestling shows I have ever seen. I can't speak for any of you people out there in the Wrestleverse that watch wrestling, but I could tell you this for certain. For me, dear God in heaven, it was amazing. So it's the P3 Podcast, and I'm not going to call it a special guest. I'm going to call it the hottest free agent in the wrestling podcast world. Today, we have a fatal four-way Pittsburgh Piledriver podcast, and we are joined by the hottest free agent in wrestling podcasting. That is Tom Bodnar.
That's me, casual gaming dad's in the house yet again, and it's going to be an interesting show today, folks. Strap in.
Tiger Bomb Tom.
Yes, it is.
Tiger Bomb Tom.
I'd like to think of him as the ultimate wild card in our back pocket. Actually,
Wild card.
Listen,
You went and,
we are
you
not
ruined all the fun.
we are not talking about that garbage today.
Nope, today is not about the garbage that is WWE. Today
No.
is about the wonderful jambalaya that is the tastiest AEW pay-per-view I have seen. I'm also
it's
joined
always
by...
about the garbage. It's always about the garbage. Me here, Beef the Legend. You're joined by me, and I'm going to talk about the garbage. Damn it, because we can't just talk about steak and lobster. We have to talk about the crap too. Otherwise, the crap will go unnoticed. And damn it, I got a lot of shit to say.
All right, calm down.
Well, speaking of garbage, Beef the Legend just introduced himself.
Hurtful.
We're going to go ahead and
Dickhead.
I would love to introduce the former Pittsburgh Piledriver podcast Cruiserweight champion, Zabad.
Yeah, now, see, I'm not going to feel bad about losing my belt to someone who stumbled over a victory. He doesn't know a ciabatta from his ass in the hole in the ground. All right?
Well,
So,
I know this.
you know-
I'll tell you this. A ciabatta is a very tasty bread that you can make a sandwich on. And speaking of
Son of a
sandwiches,
bitch.
I am your new Pittsburgh Piledriver podcast Cruiserweight champion.
Everyone give it up for Alec
Alec
Ransom. Round of applause.
Congratulations.
I refuse.
stuff, man.
I refuse because
Shut
he
up,
took
Beef.
my idea. We conspired, and he took my idea, and he beat me at my own game by using my own picks against me. The man is the ultimate opportunist. Get out of the way, Edge. Ransom is here to take your title.
You're going to
whose
sit there.
title, everybody's title.
You're gonna.
He took
Yeah,
it all.
I love how you just freely admitted that you conspired against me because I was choosing better than you, Beef.
This was my title. This was my opportunity.
Wow.
It should have been me.
If I'm the,
It should have been me.
me. Oh my
if I'm
god.
the edge of the Pittsburgh Piledriver podcast, that
Piece
must
of
mean that
garbage.
beat John Cena of the Pittsburgh Piledriver podcast.
Hurtful. Well, you know what? I'll take it.
Shit.
I'll
Uh,
take that mantra.
I don't know. But so anyway, all that aside, congratulations to Alec Ransom. He chose
Yes.
very well. He really did. He
Don't go
picked-
congratulating too easy because we got NXT Takeover coming up, and I am
Well.
very, very confident that my reign will be wonderfully short-lived.
All right. Well, no, but let's just dive right into it. Let's talk about a Double or Nothing. My God.
Oh, it was so good. And you know what? I do want to talk about Money in the Bank, too, because we haven't talked about that. And there's a lot to kind of unpack for that.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about AEW first because that's the good stuff. That's the, like you guys are saying, man, that's the main course, man. That's our steak and lobster. So let's jump right in. How good was it?
Yeah.
From now it was overall it was one of the best, and I understand this can sound like puffery, it's a little bit of a honeymoon period, but coming off of this show, honestly, this is the first time in a long time that I have sat there and I felt like when I was like in my early teens watching wrestling. You know what I mean? Like when you're watching it and you're still a mark and you're like watching your favorites and you don't know what's going to happen and everything. And it's this new frontier. And here's the thing. I want to make this a point right up front before I forget.
And now Poot's ripping off my catchphrases. I'm done. I'm a shell to you people.
Oh,
Go ahead.
hashtag everyone has a gimmick, right, Beef? Anyway,
Well,
so
Poor
we're
Beef, you're not even here anymore.
no.
There's the
So
other one. I'm done.
here's-
I'm
You're
done.
out of the
I'm just
band.
a fucking
Here's
robot
the-
here.
here's the biggest thing for me with Double or Nothing. Whenever we were going into this, I was thinking, okay, it's going to look like, not the in-ring action. I'm talking about the overall production. I was thinking to myself, I'm like, this is going to feel like and have the look of a Ring of Honor, an Impact, a WCW, like the visual, the audio, everything. I'm going to tell you something. When I got over to my buddy Jimmy's place and I was watching this.
Shout out to Jimmy.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I'm going to give them a shout out. Jimmy and Corey, the Dos Hermanos Lucha. I'm going to talk about them because holy crap, they have a lot of memorabilia. Anyway.
Let me interrupt you real quick here before you start talking about memorabilia and stuff. Speaking of shout outs, we should really start the podcast off here the right way and have thank the sponsors.
Yep.
Yeah, man. And speaking of memorabilia, a great place to get that is WrestleDeals.com. Your home for bloody good prices. I forgot the other part of the tagline. I'm sorry, Sean.
Violet.
You're the worst. You are out of the
man.
Right? I know, right? I'm just this is. But no,
Jobber
Sean Tischler's got all the good stuff there, as well as tickets. And I mean, if you go to an indie show an independent wrestling show in the central Pennsylvania area, you're probably going to run into Sean. He's the guy over at WrestleDeals.com. He takes care of all that. So yeah, check him out, give him some clicks. And of course, our own favored wild card, Mr. Tom Bodnar over there, the casual gaming dad, with his corner on Facebook, which we absolutely love to watch as well. His God of War playthrough was very, very entertaining, and I really, for the same reason that I enjoy watching Poot the Bard on his channel get frustrated and crazy about his games, is also the same reason I like watching Tom on Mario Maker, watching these guys just completely. Which is the same reason that a lot of you probably like to watch me after Monday Night Raw and pay-per-views, which is when I lose my fucking shit and my face turns red. So, you know what? It works.
Which reminds me, Tom.
Sponsors. Hooray.
Tom.
What's up?
I need to pick your brain about capture cards. We'll do that later, though. But
absolutely, yeah.
Digressing. My point with this was whenever I got there and I showed up during Sabian Guevara, I was watching this and I looked and I went, the video production, the audio production, the camera angles, the lighting, everything had a big time feel. And I didn't want to say it this way, but I'm gonna. It looked like a WWE production. It looked that way. It didn't look cheap. It didn't look tawdry. It looked sharp. And the set was great with those giant poker chips and like
it really was
the different boom camera angles they had. Again, the audio production was fantastic. Everything felt big time. Out of the gate, they are coming out swinging. I mean, like it made me sit there and I went, yes, this is what I was worried about. And immediately my fears were alleviated and I enjoyed the show. It was phenomenal.
Yeah, the production value of that show really was top notch. It's clear they didn't spare any expense when it came to camera setup, camera angles, audio quality. The different visuals that they had. It was really, really well put together, and it did not look like And I'm not shitting on an indie production here, but it didn't look like an indie production. It looked like a big box office. Big budget production like a WWE usually does. I mean, they really did go all out.
I'll tell you what. Yeah, Tom. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think a part of that has to do, obviously, you guys with the cons having the financial, having their backs financially and everything like that. Top to bottom, it was really, really good card, and I really enjoyed the whole pay-per-view. I actually ended up, I was trying to be like the other sleazeballs of the internet and find a free stream of it, but but no, hold on, don't boo me yet. But after realizing that wasn't going to work, I said, fuck it, I'm buying it because it's going to be worth it, and it did not disappoint. Nothing's ever going to be top to bottom 100% perfect. There were a few hiccups. I'll give constructive criticism of it, but I will say for their first big show like this, like 20,000 sold out. I mean, I know All In was a big deal. I still have yet to go back and watch that, but I enjoyed this card for seeing a lot of wrestlers that I wasn't familiar with, some that I had heard of and had seen little clips here and there. Obviously, like Young Bucks, Omega. Obviously, I was familiar with Jericho because he's been around forever and in WWE. So it was awesome to see that stuff. The wrestlers that I did know or I had heard of, and then seeing ones that like discovering new ones. I'm like, wow, MJF. Perfect heel. I love that guy as a heel. Like,
oh my, yes.
Well, before we get into the actual content of the card, which was a great, and yes, I do have that discussion about the production. I want to say this real quick. I watched Impact United We Stand on the Fight app on WrestleMania weekend, and it was abhorrent. It was bad lighting, bad audio. Honestly, bad production of matches, but that has nothing to do with actual like production. But like after seeing that, I didn't know what to expect with the production of Double or Nothing, with the exception of a couple of lulls with the announcers when they were not LOLs, but like a lull in the action where the camera was on the announcers and they didn't quite seem what they what to do. With the exception of that, like it came off without a hitch, and it made Impact, who has been around for fucking 20 or probably 20 years now.
Yep.
It made them look like fucking lightweights, and they don't know what the fuck they're doing. And AEW just
made them look like amateurs.
100%.
And I think I think the reason that you have that with the announcers and a few little hiccups is just because they have to develop their chemistry. Like that's one thing that whenever I shout you guys out, I'll go ahead and give you guys some puffery here. One of the first things I said whenever you guys did your test video, your live test video with just Putin Beef. I knew the three of you being the friends that you are, I knew there was going to be a natural chemistry, and it has not disappointed me. So I think once JR and whoever else is on the announce team with him to find that chemistry, I think you'll see really good. Like to give a little bit of a rub to WWE, like their announce team and stuff, when they make some mistakes and stuff like that, they kind of call each other out on it and kind of make a joke of it, and they nip it in the bud, and it's done, and they get back to the action. Like they have that give and go.
You can also tell their
AEW
friends.
Will get there. Yeah, AEW will get there.
Well,
yeah,
so here's the
100%.
thing. So I know, and I do want to talk about the good stuff of the card, but I want to mention one thing that I think is going to be probably a contrarian opinion of you guys of the internet, and that is, and here's. I mentioned the lulls with the announcers because whenever you have that, whenever the camera's on you, you know what you do? The head guy steps up. The head guy didn't step up. JR, who has been in this business for, 20, oh my goodness, probably, 40 years now, but behind an announce desk for a solid 25, 30 years, he can't keep up with Excalibur. Excalibur was the true talent of the pay-per-view behind the mic. The other guy, Alex Marsda, I want to say his name was.
Yeah.
Did okay. But JR, I didn't feel it. And I get it. I get that AEW is looking for the voice that people heard back in 1999, Stone Cold. And I understand that. And that's brand familiarity. But as far as like actually being able to go, I think Excalibur left him in the dust.
Well, no, here's the thing with JR. And I watched, the Busted Open podcast. That's Bully Ray's podcast.
Yeah, okay.
I watched that, and JR talked about how he really felt like he had tread left on the tires with his career, and he had a lot to offer. But what he talked about, he mentioned, obviously, commentary, because that's what everybody knows JR for. But what he really talked about was giving the knowledge to the backstage, to the boys in the back, and to the powers that be in the back. Because, I mean, JR was head of talent relations. He's worn many hats, not just that big dumb cowboy hat that he likes.
Yeah, he's not a one-trick pony.
No, he's not a one-trick pony at all. And that's the thing is, I think, maybe his best days are behind him as a commentator. That is up for debate. But I will say this, as a mind for the business, JR really will be able to contribute a lot, and especially having people like Malenko there to kind of like bounce ideas off of, and the climate that's backstage with creative and how they're going to book people and how the creative process works back there where it's kind of nebulous. It seems like JR will be able to add a lot and not get persnickety. You know what I mean?
I think too, as far as I don't want to call, New Japan not a big production, but as far as big productions go, JR hasn't been on a commentary team live in a live environment for a while. On the same podcast with Bully Ray, he talked about how, when he would commentate, is that it? When he would commentate in New Japan, they did it in a booth, in a room afterwards, watching the show.
Right.
No live audience.
Yeah.
Which
The
is
thing
awkward.
wasn't live. Yeah, so JR hasn't been in a live environment calling a wrestling show. I don't know how long it's been, but my thing is I always was a big JR and the King fan. A lot of people like to think that maybe the King wasn't that great, and without JR, whatever the case may be.
It's the straight man color man thing.
Yeah, and I say, you know what, give JR a chance. Once, and I agree with Tom, I think it was Tom that said it, once JR and Excalibur and the other guy, once they kind of get themselves in once they get themselves in a
rhythm.
That's it. Jeez, oh man, words are hard.
Hot tag in with the vocabulary.
Yeah, thank you for that, man. Jeez, oh man,
You're welcome,
hot
sir.
tag it in. I think they will. I think that broadcast team really has a lot to bring to the table. And I think they'll be great. I think they just have to get a feel for each other, get a feel for how the shows are going to go. And, once they get in that groove, once they get in that rhythm, I think they'll be spot on.
JR is a consummate professional. And Poot, the stuff that you were saying, that's the JR that I want. I want JR, the head of talent relations. I want JR, the backstage guy. I want JR, the, sit under the tree of learning. If we have to, and I use this very, very, verbosely, but if we have to deal with JR on commentary for that, that's fine. And I think that you guys have a salient point that I think he will come around because working with Excalibur is not like working with Jerry the King Lawler. Excalibur is a wild guy, and that's why I love him. Right. So, and I guess to be fair, I am letting some of what JR, because JR did a couple live ones with New Japan over in the I almost call it the Walter Pyramid over in California when they did their live shows. And he was abysmal there. Now, I mean, to be fair, it is Japanese names, and he's the guy from Oklahoma, so no offense to any Oklahomans actually listening, but it's understandable that you're going to trip over those names. But at the same time, like if you're going to be a consummate professional, you got to know, and you got to know, and you got to know. So maybe I'm letting that cloud my vision a little bit. I'm not completely putting the nail in the coffin of JR's commentating career. I'm expecting more, I guess.
But I want to say this: how amazing was Excalibur on the mic? That dude doesn't miss a beat. Anytime if there was an in-ring flub, and Beef and I watched this together, and Beef was the one that actually called attention to this. If there was an in-ring flub, or a botch move or whatnot, boy, Excalibur was on it, and like his mind, he could think, and he spun it to where you weren't like, oh, look at that idiot making that flub.
Well, I think that's part and parcel to Excalibur's experience, because JR came from a time where honestly, I mean, if you look back, and because the style of wrestling may have been more simplistic, so botches were less frequent, or people weren't in the know enough to watch and realize, see the smaller
something
botches.
Was a botch.
Yeah. Now people are more in the know, and they can recognize a smaller botch and definitely the bigger botches. But Excalibur comes from that school of like, okay, people are smart, people know what's going on, and they can recognize this. How can I cover it? And yeah, all the stuff that I've heard him call in the past, and now especially with Double or Nothing, you're right. He did an incredible job covering the spackling over the flaws. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
especially
he really did.
The one that came to mind was whenever the Cody Dustin match. Whenever he talked about like, oh, he must have lost his footing with the ring being so slippery with the blood. And like,
well,
right,
yeah.
And I mean, you know who else does a great job of that is Corey Graves. If you watch Corey Graves and you watch, anytime someone whiffs on Raw or something like that, he's right on it too. So I mean, those guys. If you give me a commentary team of Corey Graves and Excalibur, I think that's probably going to be the best, or at least the best right now. So
Where did Excalibur wrestle?
PWG, man. Do you remember? And this is a funny story for our fans. All three of them. When we would work at the gas station in Clearfield, I brought that laptop over.
Oh, yeah.
And we watched PWG. Excalibur was there, but Excalibur also commentated after the fact. So like Excalibur would like commentate his own matches, and like he, I think he's partial owner. Him and Super Dragon are like partial owners of PWG.
Awesome.
Dude, I remember that, and I remember that's where you introduced me to El Generico and the Brain Buster.
Speaking of which, what a hell of a call out! So the one thing that I can't really forgive Excalibur for is calling Jericho Generico, which he did twice in rapid succession during the main event.
Yeah.
The only thing I can think of is that in the Lucha Brothers Bucks match, I think it was Matt Jackson hit the Helluva Kick, which he called the Helluva Kick, followed up by the Brain Buster. I saw that shit and I'm like, oh my god, Sami Zayn somewhere's got to have goosebumps right now.
That was kind of a shitty Brain Buster, though.
It was, but it
was there though.
It's very clear they were calling it out exactly.
But so I'll tell you what. Who has? Do you want me to pull up the card? We can go through match by match.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, let me pull up the card. Let me pull up the card here.
Okay, I'm working on the NXT card right now because believe it or not, they don't have it listed on WWE's site. Like I was looking for it, I'm like,
because of course not.
I was like, give me the Takeover card. So
NXT is not important.
Enter Wikipedia.
So while you're working on that, Pooh, we can talk about the Battle Royal, which was interesting.
Now I didn't see this, so I'm gonna defer to you guys for this.
Okay. So I mean, it was interesting. I think the Battle Royal had something for everybody. You had Glacier coming back. You had Billy Gunn delivering the famous. Or you had Jimmy Havoc with some sick ass stapler bumps. By the way, when Joey Janela had the cigarette on his forehead, I thought that somebody like put it out there. No, Jimmy Havoc stapled the cigarette to Janela's forehead, which was awesome.
Oh man!
Oh wow!
I didn't know that.
And then Janela taking a sick ass bump from Luchasaurus. Oh my god. That damn chokeslam! Oh man, I thought he was dead.
Yeah, when he took a chokeslam on that table, he took a chokeslam from the ring, outside the ring, onto a table, and landed on his head.
Oh, and that chick was screaming the whole time too, right?
Oh my lord!
What's her name? Penelope. I think Penelope Ford. I love Janela, and I don't know if Janela is 100% AEW or not, but man, I hope he is because man, he is something else. He's a weird dude, but like he takes some of the sickest bumps.
Yeah, he really does.
The one thing that and this is interesting, by the way, that AOC, and I'm not going to try and pronounce Miss Cortez's name, but she gave Cody Rhodes a lot of glowing remarks, which is huge fucking thing to come from a fucking governor, senator. I don't remember, but it's a huge fucking like thing to come out and that she's going to mention their names. But she gave them a lot of praise for being so open and like moving the zeitgeist forward with openness. But Sonny Kiss, who is the first openly transgendered wrestler that I don't know what you want to say about Nicole Bass, but that's notwithstanding. But Sonny Kiss.
Oh.
So like we got it. And I think that the face butt thing that they did in the corner was a little over the top. That I think pushed the line just a bit too far. But other than that, I love the Battle Royal. And Battle Royals are always fun, but the way that they did it with like the packs of like 5 or 6 people coming down at a time, that was a lot of fun.
I think that was a nice
by
touch.
Suits was interesting.
Yeah, I'd like that compared to like having a normal, what we're used to, a typical Battle Royal with everybody just already starting in the ring, or like in the case of like a Royal Rumble, them coming down one competitor coming down every so many minutes or whatever. This was a nice touch, a way that they can, kind of put their own stamp on it and everything like that. A lot of the wrestlers that were in the Battle Royal were people I had no idea. And the one thing I don't know why, it's almost like how Ransom had, to give a call back to when Ransom talked about the WWE wrestlers having these monikers like the big dog, like they say it 5 times. I'm like, how many times are you going to tell me the Jungle Boy is Luke Perry's son? Okay, I get it. Thanks.
I think the reason they did that is because Luke Perry passed away.
There is that. I after that was my immediate reaction. I'm like, okay, I get it, and I'm like, okay, yeah, his dad did just pass away. Like, all right, I'll let it slide. But no, it's like I won't lie. This is my one constructive criticism. I will say, some of the character wrestlers that they had felt very 1990s WWE-ish. However, I will say overall I enjoyed it. But some of the gimmick wrestlers were I could have dealt without. But no. I know it's different. I just still need to give it a chance. Like,
if you're talking about Luchasaurus, we're gonna have words, because I'll tell you what, I had no knowledge of Luchasaurus going in, and like at the end I was like, yes, Luchasaurus.
No, I think honestly, Tom, those kind of gimmicks are kind of they're a little bit tongue in cheek, because it's one of those things that it's like they're doing it where it's like, yeah, okay, we know it's kind of a piss take on the old generation. Like, we know that Duke the Dumpster Droese wasn't actually a trash guy. We know that who else? The Goon wasn't actually a hockey player. But it's like these guys, they're going out there, they're being larger than life. They realize, they're like, yeah, okay, everybody's smart enough. They know this isn't actually us, but it's something to get them noticed and into a battle royal like this.
Yeah, that's true. I'll give them that. Like, it's a foot in the door, if nothing else. Because I mean, look at how many times we've seen. Look at times when we've seen people that got shit gimmicks to start, and then, like, okay, perfect example,
like Stone Cold.
Well, as I say, Stone Cold being the ringmaster, or whenever they brought in Rocky Maivia, babyface blue chip, All American, and then he starts getting booed, and they finally just let him kind of take the reins himself, and he just turned it into The Rock. Like, I get it. There is that chance for progression. It's this pay-per-view for me. It was good, and I liked it. It's just there's a lot of people I still got to get to know and get to watch. Like, this is the first time I've seen a lot of these people wrestle. You know what I mean?
And the important thing to understand with the battle royal, and we do need to move on, but with the battle royal, a lot of those guys are already on the indie scene with those gimmicks. So they were like bringing in like and a lot of them are not signed officially with AEW as of yet. Now, they may, be card filler, etc. down the line, and maybe they will get, the big pushes once they, kind of break through. But yeah, right now it's just about bringing recognizable names that some people, the marks, let's be honest, well, the smarks know from the independent circuit, and giving them an opportunity.
And how great is that, too, to where you have AEW, a company that is actively signing people to contracts, yes, but they're also open to the fact that, hey, all these guys wrestling on these indie scenes, come on into one of our pay-per-views, wrestle a match, be in a battle royal, do whatever, and then they can go back to the indies. It's exposure to new people. It's exposure to indies. And I think, people that aren't signed to AEW, and as AEW grows their fan base, that will give a bigger eye to the independent wrestling scenes, because they'll see somebody wrestle on an AEW show and go, hey, I really like
Jimmy
Havoc.
Not only,
he's not signed.
Love Jimmy Havoc.
I love Jimmy Havoc. Yeah.
He's not signed to AEW. He's, he works in New Japan, or he works in Ring of Honor. So I'm going to go out. I'm going to branch out, and I'm going to watch some of those shows too, because they have good wrestlers. They have good talent.
Well, it's not even helping. It's not even helping the brands. It's that's a good side effect. But what it is really even smaller is helping those wrestlers that they're bringing in for one-offs or for a match or two. It helps them increase their stock when they're going out and having to take care of their own business and having to book their own. They go, hey, listen, I was on Double or Nothing, and I had this going on. Pay me an extra $100. You know what I mean? Like, it helps them make a living on the independent scene. Yeah, maybe they're not ready for AEW. Maybe they're not ready for WWE yet. But because they were able to make that appearance in AEW on Double or Nothing, or maybe even their week-to-week show that's coming up, if they do that, then what it does is it allows them to go out there and make a better life for themselves, to grow. So then once they're mature enough and their talents are honed and their skills are honed enough, they can actually come in and be a benefit to larger promotions.
Right. So it's kind of like playing the long game. It's kind of like playing the long game. Hey, you might be coming back, so we're gonna, put you over with a big spot here so that you can go out, build your brand, and come back,
Right.
Yeah, and it's nice that they're not, it's not a dark match,
Yes.
on a Raw or a dark match on a SmackDown. It's an actual match as part of a pay-per-view. You're not buried in obscurity. You are getting that exposure, and it's not exposure on the tiny scale of a dark match in front of a crowd. It's exposure on, an actual televised
the grander
event.
scale.
Yes.
Yeah,
Right.
which everybody had to watch for free. I mean, come on, like how much more exposed can you get than that?
Well, no, and I mean that's really, I think, one of the reasons why they do these kind of battle royal things is to have that. And then, I mean, obviously to give the little pops and stuff like Tommy Dreamer coming back.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? And he gave the rub to a lot of younger talent, which I think is important. And that's good that guys like Tommy Dreamer are doing that.
Yeah,
Well,
100%.
And speaking of good stuff for free, I do want to mention because it's going to be real quick to gloss over it, but Sabian and Guevara delivered exactly what they needed to do. You had the battle royal for people who were watching for a whole bunch of people. Okay, you had Guevara versus Sabian for a good match. Okay, you had them
Ooh, that
for
wasn't
a
even me.
match to bring people in and say, hey, here's what you can expect from the pay-per-view. You gave away a good to great match for free to hook people, and that's what you should be doing on pre-shows.
And again,
Yep.
This is a match I didn't see in its entirety. I walked in right at the close when Kip Sabian took it. So I'm going to defer to you guys on this one as well. After that, we'll go through, in no particular order, the rest of the card.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
like
and I mean-
Beef said, I like the fact that their pre-show, it wasn't just a whole bunch of, talking filler, with a bunch of people sitting around a desk while people fill into the arenas. I think WWE could probably put on a better pre-show if it was 85% matches, 15% talking. They have these hour and a half, 2 hour pre-shows where 90% of it is just people sitting around a desk talking about it. I don't give a crap about that. I don't want to hear that. I know what the card's going to be. I don't want to hear you sit around and talk about it. Show me some matches on the pre-show. Talk about some of your bigger events, sure, but that can be a small segment of your pre-show.
Besides,
Let me
that's
see
what
some
we're here
good
for.
matches. Yeah, well, yeah. Let me see some good matches to hook me. Hook me into wanting to watch this show. If you put on a great pre-show and give me 2 matches for free, that's going to want to make me go, oh, okay, these 2 pre-show matches, which aren't even part of the main card, were amazing. I cannot wait to see what they're going to do in the rest of the show.
Here's the thing about that. It's about philosophy. How do you push the product? How do you sell the pay-per-view? Do you put on barn burner matches, or do you put together some of the best packages in the world? Because honestly, if we're talking about things that WWE does better than anybody that I've ever seen, NFL, NHL, whoever, they put together the best hype packages that in the world. So to their credit, yes, they have the pundits sitting there talking about it, but they also have those hype packages in case you are like some of us that don't watch Raw or SmackDown every single week. You get the high points of the feud. So I get that. I think you can have a clean mixture of both, because I think, and I don't recall 100%, but I think they did a little bit of that with the Cody and no, they never mind. They did that during the. But did they do it? Did they do it on the pre-show though?
I think they did.
Show the hype video. I mean, either way, they were good videos, but like I think you could do a mixture of both. But anyway, yes, Sabian versus Guevara was a really good match, and again, what you needed. You had the babyface going over, so yes, good.
All right, so again, now let's move on to the main card. We'll start with the first match of the main card. SoCal Uncensored, that's Christopher Daniels, Frankie Kazarian, and Scorpio Sky, who looked like $1 million, by the way, versus Strong Hearts, Seema, T-Hawk, and El Lindemann. And I'll tell you what, Strong Hearts look great. I have never seen them go. I've seen a little bit of SoCal Uncensored, and they are wildly entertaining. And here's the thing. I'm gonna make these statements throughout as we go through the matches for the card. There were a lot of times where I looked at and went, oh, it's a dime store version of WWE character. Like, you know what I mean? I did that. But I didn't do that with this match. This was one match where I was just like, what a way to open this pay-per-view. What a way to kick things off in the best way possible.
Yeah, and for Christopher Daniels, for the age that he is,
what, 43?
Oh, I think he's
I'll
up there.
I'll look it up. Oh God,
wanna
knocking
say
everything
spring
over.
chicken,
Oh God, knocking everything over.
Yeah, I want to say mid to late 40s, but the things that he did in the ring, he did not look blown up at all. Even at the end of the match, didn't look blown up. And, you know, he took a beating, and he took a lot of bumps.
Christopher Daniels is 49.
Yeah.
Yep.
Holy
yeah, he's almost 50.
Good Lord, he is still 100% amazing in the ring.
How old's Kazarian? Because Kazarian, I mean, I don't know how close him and Kazarian are in age or anything like that. I know
Let me look that up
early
too.
40s. I would say it's early 40s. But that match, you know, the six-man tag to start the match or to start the night was, again, and I'll say this again, exactly what it needed to be. Anytime, and so this is a little bit of, you know, pro wrestling, you know. Go ahead.
Way younger. Frankie Kazarian, 41.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a little bit about, you know, behind the curtain as far as, you know, from what I know, because I do know a couple people in the business, you know. But
look at Big Shot Magoo over here.
I know, right? When you want, you know, when you're doing a show, you want to put your best matches on either end of the card, the main event and the opener. The opener is super important to get the crowd hyped, get them hot, and, you know, have them and keep them that way. And by the way, really hot crowd whole night.
Mm-hmm.
But the SCU is a great brand. I love Kazarian and Daniels together, and when you add Scorpio Sky in there, they another PWG, or actually all three of these guys, by the way, came through the PWG dojo or whatever it is out there. So awesome of that. But you know, the Strong Hearts. I've seen Shima before. I've never seen T-Hawk or Lindemann, but they did impress me. I was a big fan of Shima, and I'm pretty excited. I think it's Fighter Fest is Kenny Omega versus Shima. Ought to be really good. But yeah, that match was exactly what it needed to be, with SCU winning with the best Meltzer ever. What a great move.
This was a match that unfortunately I didn't get to really catch most of because I was pissing around trying to find ways to order the pay-per-view. I had to like switch from one laptop to another because my old one was just crapping out on me. So I literally saw the.
Speaking of crapping out.
Uh-oh.
Over an Impact.
Up. There he is.
He's back.
What happened?
We missed
Cut
your
out
statement.
big time there.
What's that?
You cut out big time.
Oh, sorry.
Well,
Okay, so anyway, so I was saying I didn't catch most of this match because I was busy trying to get everything working on my laptop and stuff like that. I actually had to switch laptops and find a way to order the pay-per-view. I am familiar with Kazarian and Daniels' work over in Impact, and I like them over there. So I'm glad that they got the win. Good for them. I don't know anything about the Strong Hearts, but I will go back and watch this match because it's just from the replay highlights that they put together at the end of the match, I was like, ooh, I missed a good one.
Yeah, it was definitely a solid match. Definitely.
it really was. And you know, most people, I don't know about you guys, whenever you see a 3-person tag team, or a 6-man tag rather, do you ever go like, you ever have that moment, like it depends on where it falls in the card or who's in the match, where you kind of go either ooh or ugh.
Yeah.
100%. Yep.
You know what I mean? And this was a way, and I think it was because if it was anyone but, honestly, Strong Hearts, to me, it could have been anybody. If you replaced anybody with Strong Hearts, if it would have been anybody but SoCal and Censored, this would have been boring as shit to kick the card off.
Now that's a perfect segue, I'll say, into and no disrespect to gender-wise or anything like that, but the 6-woman tag match, that one I was kind of underwhelmed with, and I don't know if it was just because it was like that. That's a perfect example. Like I was watching that, I'm kind of like, all right, like. Who was that? Who was the 6-woman
It was
tag match?
Hiroki Shida, Ryo Abe, and Ryo Mizunami versus Aja Kong, Yuka Sakazaki, and Imai Sakura.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
was
I
impressed.
hate the shit I hate to shit on people, but it was a snoozer.
It was well, I mean, not every match can be, A++ would watch again.
No,
Right,
no, you're
right.
right.
I enjoyed it. Again, I'm going to be the contrarian, because sometimes, so being in it, and this is something that you guys probably, Poot could probably attest to this, but the rest of you, the other two of you guys, not being as familiar with indie stuff, like this is something that you're probably have to get used to a little bit, which is looking at somebody who you have no idea, no investment in, and going, okay, what are you about? And that's what I did on this match. I took this match at face value, and I said, okay, impress me. And Hiroki Shida, who was the one that had the Asuka/Kairi Sane like garb, she impressed me. Rio, not Riho, but Rio, she was the super young one. She was doing a lot in that ring.
Was she the one who had the Freddie Mercury kind of thing going on?
No, that was I think that was Riho. No, that was one of the other ones on the heel team.
I was gonna say who was the one on the heel team that kind of looked. Yeah, who was the one on the heel team that kind of had the genie pants or whatever going on?
Not Asia Kong, but the other one. I think that was Sakura. Yeah.
Was that Sakura or Sakazaki? I liked her. I liked her style and everything like that. I was like, okay, I'll come back and watch some more of your stuff. Like, but it's just, again, like you said, it was one of those things. I was like, okay, impress me, and I was like, all right, like I didn't get drawn in as much, but that's okay because I knew that there was still some really good quality matches coming up on the card and stuff like that, and ones that we had already seen. So.
And the problem with that match, I think, if we're being honest, the problem with that match was Aja Kong, because it was very clear that the other 5 had a style, and she did not fit that style. Her being in there was, I think, more due to her status, which is a big Japanese thing, where you bring in guys who are established, and maybe they don't have the same step that they used to, but they carried, X promotion for a number of years or whatever.
So are you going to reference Ace at this point, Beef?
I will. Well, I don't want to sully his name by talking about it. Forgive me, Japan wrestling fans. I'm not trying to cut down Aja Kong. What I'm trying to say is that, yes, guys like Ace, the ace of the world, Hiroshi Tanahashi, guys who have lost a little bit of a step are still, they're the high point in the card because of what they've done. I think Aja Kong was in this match because she's a legend, because they even referenced her series of matches with Bull Nakano.
You could argue the same thing about John Cena, though, losing a step.
Exactly. And he can still walk in. He could be on Raw tonight and in the main event because he's John freaking Cena. So I think that's what Kenny was doing, because Kenny, the reports say that Kenny Omega is big on the Joshi thing. He wants to bring Joshi to the United States. And I'm all in on that because Stardom was amazing, or is amazing rather. But the Stardom show that I watched in the Big Apple was really good WrestleMania weekend. But that's kind of like his hey, thanks Aja Kong for being a great Joshi woman through the tough part. We want to showcase you. So
now I will say the women's wrestling that definitely did impress me was the triple threat turned. Fatal 4-way, Britt Baker, Kylie Ray, Nyla Rose, and then bring in Awesome Kong.
That was crazy.
Tiger Bomb Tom with an amazing segue. Well done. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
That was...
that, as far as women's matches go, and, I don't know, maybe I am shitting on WWE, but you know what? For me, at least, the women's match at Double or Nothing was so far above any women's match that I have seen in the WWE in a long, long time. A lot of the things in WWE women's matches, at least to me, and there are times where you can tell it's like, I don't want to take that bump, or like it looks awkward. Irish whips into the turnbuckle, some of these women's wrestlers look awkward. They look like they're really trying to brace themselves going in. And I'm not shitting on women's wrestling. I'm just saying that for the women's match at All or Nothing, All or Nothing, Double or Nothing, it really looked like they went out and went hand over fist above women's wrestling in WWE, for me at least.
Devil's advocate, though, to be fair, historically, men's and women's wrestling, WWE works a way safer style. And just because of, and again, not being sexist here, women in general don't have the impact on things like the mat, the turnbuckle, things like that, like the weight, literally the
because
weight.
they're tinier. Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
it's like
Yeah, but I think this Double or Nothing show disproves that. Because they did. They did do exactly that. I believe that disproves your statement.
it was much more cavalier, though. That what I'm saying is WWE is that way, not the indies.
So here's the thing.
I don't think that taking a turnbuckle hit is I don't see a lot of high risk. That's not a high risk maneuver.
Have you ever taken one of those?
Oh yeah.
No, but look at people who take hits into the turnbuckle.
You mean like Sting? A 30-year veteran who ended his career doing that?
That was a buckle bomb, to be fair. That's a little puffery. Calm down.
Running into the turnbuckle and taking a turnbuckle bomb are two dramatically different things.
No,
that's like saying, I took a drop kick and fell to the mat. That's like saying, I took a drop kick and fell to the mat is the same thing as taking a power bomb to the apron. No, two different things.
That's all right. So I'm kind of, in our little group, I kind of embrace my role as like the wrestling aficionado, and more than anything, especially the last couple of years, I've been trying to get you guys on board with women's wrestling because I have seen this revolution from the ground up and seen the groundswell. So like to me, this match was kind of like WrestleMania main event had the star power, okay, but this match delivered in a completely different way. Both were good. This was better.
Yes.
I'm not saying that WWE women's wrestling is bad. I'm not saying that. they are very, very good. They've come a long way. They are a million times better than the Divas division.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't even compare the two.
It's not putting wrestling matches and evening gowns.
No. The Divas division was a joke in WWE. Women's division in WWE is great.
Yes. Ransom, I want to put you on a call out here because I think you made a wonderful salient point during the match where you were talking about Nyla Rose, who doesn't have your conventional. I mean, obviously, Awesome Kong is Awesome Kong. Great seeing her back in the ring.
Yes.
But Nyla Rose doesn't have your conventional figure, and you said that she's like Nia Jax, but if Nia Jax does everything that she's supposed to and does it well. So that's
right.
That's a wonderfully salient point by you. So good call on that. But yeah, all these and like Smiley Kylie, like you can make the comparisons to Bayley all you want, but she's like Bayley turned up to 13, man.
Dude, I looked at I had never seen Kylie Ray wrestle, and I looked at her and my first reaction was, oh look, it's Dime Store Bayley.
I love the part, and here's an exact personification of me saying that she's Bayley turned up to 11. When Brandy came out and announced Awesome Kong coming out, Kylie Ray sitting in the ring clapping, a big smile on her face, like she's just excited to be there, and I loved it. It was great, man. Stay in that gimmick the whole time. What a wonderful gimmick.
That's a great character.
Well, maybe that's the difference between WWE and the Indies / AEW is the fact that wrestlers who have a gimmick stay in that gimmick versus WWE where it's like, oh, here's their gimmick, buy the t-shirt. Now when they're in the ring, they're like any other schmuck.
Here's the gimmick for 5 seconds. Enjoy it.
I will say, but most importantly, definitely big shout out to Pittsburgh's own Dr. Britt Baker. Amazing.
Dr. Britt Baker.
Love it. I love her. She's great. She's great.
And I mean, and you can't help the fact that, give the nod that she's married to Adam Cole, baby. I mean, come on, that's a power couple there.
Yeah, they're married.
I did not know that. I did not know that.
Holy shit!
Awesome.
Holy shit! I knew something Beef didn't. Wow.
I know, right?
I just have a feeling that's not going to bode well for Adam Cole.
Well, you know what? I worried a little bit. I worried about that even before she signed to AEW because I don't know if Britt Baker had any NXT tryouts or not. But I'm like, that'd be awesome if they could get her in there, and and Adam Cole kind of helps her get the foot in the door. That'd be great. Now I worry about that when I'm like, oh boy, like this. Hopefully it does not. Hopefully it doesn't turn anything sour.
By the way, Britt Baker earned her DMD from the exact school that my dad earned him DMD from.
Oh,
nice.
Awesome!
Right?
That's
small
good.
world, right?
Look at that.
Yeah.
And I was going to mention this later.
What?
Go ahead, Tom.
I was gonna say, I was like, who knows? Maybe we shout her out enough. Maybe we'll get her on the podcast
Dude,
at some point.
that'd be
Pittsburgh's
awesome.
own.
Dude, listen. Actually, it was recently she earned her DMD, right?
Right.
Mine-
You know,
what,
last
I don't
couple of
know.
years, I think.
I don't
I
know
was
how
gonna
long.
say I'll have to ask my dad because he may or may not have run across her because he has worked
working
with
the
some
connections.
graduates.
Work the
Who's the bard
connections.
working his connections?
Whoa.
And this is a wonderful time to kind of talk about this as well, because that's a great lead-in topic, and I don't want to get away from AEW discussion. But what about Renee?
I'm worried.
They had pictures of her walking into the arena with Mox.
Listen.
And we'll get there. But I mean, what about Renee? She right now, honestly, like they've given her a huge role and she's filling it well. What's gonna happen?
Well, we'll get there once we get to the main event and talk about Mox showing up.
Okay. So
Spoiler alert.
one of the
Whatever.
better matches on the card.
Yeah.
One of the better matches on the card that I don't think anybody saw coming was the Best Friends versus Angelico and Jack Evans.
Dude, I
Jack
said it.
Evans. Did you? Okay.
Whenever
believe
we
it.
were talking, I said, man, I have been talking about how great Angelico is. And whenever I was over there watching with Corey and Jimmy and a whole bunch of other people, like Corey and Jimmy told me, they're like, have you ever seen Jack Evans? And I said, no. And they're like, holy shit.
Dude,
You're going
he's
to love Jack Evans.
He's an indie veteran. He's what you would call a spot monkey, but he's one that's fun to watch. He
It works
actually,
it in well.
Yeah, he does. He actually invented the move that El Fantismo did on Will Ospreay, or I think Will Ospreay did on Fantismo with my match of the week last week, which was the European Destroyer, as I've heard it called, which is the front flip DDT.
Yeah.
Jack Evans was doing that right after PD started doing the Canadian Destroyer, so that's real cool. But yeah, no, Jack Evans is a journeyman, so I'm glad to have him here. And this is my first time seeing Angelico, so that was enjoyable.
Dude.
Beretta though, I love Beretta's Mox, man. He's good.
Dude, of if you know, when you look at a tag team, the question inevitably always is, who's the Marty Jannetty? Like, and honestly, if you look at the Best Friends, Chuck Taylor's the Marty Jannetty.
Oh, you shut your whore mouth.
Listen.
Again, Chuck Taylor.
Listen, he is.
Chuck Taylor is a
no,
journeyman,
that's
too.
nothing against Chuck Taylor, because we're talking on a whole different level than used to be back in the day. Chuck Taylor is phenomenal. Trent Beretta is better.
Oh, that's tough, man. That's tough.
I'm making that bold statement, man. I love Trent Beretta.
You know what? I smell a collar elbow tie-up episode there coming up, right?
But how fucking good?
Ooh.
How fucking crispy? That'd be a good one. How fucking crispy was that finish though? The double
love
stomp
it.
into the dude
Yup.
buster. Oh my god!
Yup.
What a fucking finish!
The creativity of the entire card, not just this match, but the entire card of like not only the finishers, but the move sets and everything was just entertaining because you wanted to see what was next. And this match,
There was something for everybody. This match was a little bit goofy because like you had like them like you teasing the hug at the beginning, and then Jack Evans and Angelico separating them, and then finally you got the hug in the middle. Like it's a little bit goofy, but it was fun too. So yeah,
again, it's gimmicks that work.
right.
Oh God, what happened?
It's
Yeah,
fine.
man.
Nothing. No. Shh, everything's fine. Don't worry about it.
Our hashtag Mad Champ is being
Mad King
regrettably
Champ.
silent. Mad King Champ hashtag.
I'm trying to.
Oh, he's gone full Aussie. You never go full Aussie.
Oh,
Stop
I'm
it.
going to bed. Fuck you all.
No.
Nothing. But no, this match was phenomenal. And honestly, like, I wanted to have my eyes on Best Friends the entire time. But for me, having watched Lucha Underground, man, Angelico is so good. Just so good. And Jack Evans made me, I showed up to this match for Trent Beretta and Angelico, and I left a Jack Evans and Chuck Taylor fan.
Another smooth segue here from one tag match to an even more phenomenal tag match. If you
man.
like this tag match, this tag match definitely did not disappoint. But holy shit, the barn burner of the night. man, what can't you say about the Young Bucks? Young Bucks versus Lucha Brothers. Wow.
Listen,
That match was ridiculous.
I got to get my
Wow.
name. Hold on.
I got goosebumps right now.
Miedo.
Right?
Like, I am one of the biggest Pentagon marks in the world, and I love Phoenix. But like, dude, even if you go on my Facebook, like, you'll see for a Halloween show I did with my band this year, I dressed up as Pentagon Dark.
I did see that.
Like, that's how much I love Pentagon. Like, he's just phenomenal. And this is where I'm
he's
gonna
nuts.
put my little spot for them. If you guys don't mind.
Go ahead, man.
So I said that I couldn't make it down to the Berg to watch with Beef and Adam just simply because I had to.
Kayfabe.
Kayfabe
I
break.
had kayfabe. Sorry. Oh, what? Oh yeah, I broke
Kayfabe
kayfabe. Oh no, we've never done that before. Anyway, so
At least once a show.
yeah, whatever. Anyway, so I wasn't able. Oh, okay, I'll correct it. I wasn't able to make it down to the Berg with Beef and Ransom, the Mad King champion.
Hashtag.
With hashtag Mad King champion. But I was able to make it down to watch with my friends Jimmy and Corey Kane. They are on Instagram, Dos Hermanos Lucha, and they are huge into the Lucha community. They have tons, like absolutely tons of memorabilia from Phoenix, Pentagon, Ray, even, who Ray historically does not sell his masks and ring worn stuff, but they got a hold of it, and they know these guys. They have some from Bandito. They have some from La Park. They have like all that stuff, and they were showing me some of the regalia and memorabilia that they have, and I got to watch the event with them. And this was the match they were excited for because they personally know Pentagon and Phoenix.
Oh, that's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, dude, right? And you should check out their Instagram. Again, it's Dos Hermanos Lucha. And it's absolutely phenomenal, the stuff that they have. But we were watching this, and for me, it wasn't the Young Bucks that I was looking forward to. It was watching Pentagon and Ray work,
Right.
Ray Phoenix work together, because they're so good. And that's the reason I went with them, because I was like, listen, you got to keep Pentagon and Phoenix looking strong if they're going to work America. But then I was sitting there talking to Corey and Jimmy, and they said that after talking with Pentagon and Phoenix, they have a bigger following in America than they do in Mexico.
I believe
That's
it.
crazy.
Like, yeah,
I believe
it's
it.
bonkers. Like, I mean, you heard the chants. Like,
Yeah.
whenever Pentagon was doing the Cero Miedo, my God.
Let's remember too that Pentagon and Phoenix were an eyelash away from being in NXT or maybe even the main card. Last year, it sounded like the ink was on paper. There was a report out there that they signed WWE deals, and so
Man.
to me, this is like the heist of the century. You know, this is a big get for AEW.
The reason that I would say I mean, I heard that too, and I was foaming at the mouth because I wanted at least Pentagon there. But the thing is, yeah, they have a bigger following in America now, but in Mexico, yeah, they might not have as big of a following, but they get booked like crazy. So and that's the other thing. This was for the AAA championships. I was like, oh, well, the Bucks are going to be busy with AEW. Of course, the Lucha Brothers are going to take the belts off them, take them back to Mexico, drop them to someone off, and then come back to America to work with AEW. However, we were sitting there and the match was kicking off, and I told Jimmy and Corey, I called Pentagon and Phoenix for this match as the winners, and they said, oh, well, there's a poster out for AAA that the Bucks are going to be defending in July down there. And I went, oh, son of a bitch.
Son of a
but
bitch.
then again, right after the match, when Lucha Brothers lost, I think it was Pentagon tweeted. He said, "Oh, look at that! A AAA poster was correct for once." So you can't take that card subject to change. You know.
There are a couple points I want to make about this match. First of all, this match is probably probably tied with number 2 of the year so far with Dunn Walter. And my top 5 spots are filling up quick. So I don't know what the rest of the year is going to hold. But this match proved that tag team wrestling can main event a major pay-per-view. Honestly, if we're being honest, I think that this match should have main evented. Maybe, I don't know. It was a great match. Second,
I'll tell you what. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
That's okay. That fucking Canadian Destroyer on the fucking ring apron. Holy Christ!
Oh my
so
God!
Good.
Holy
Yeah,
Christ!
I definitely gasped at that.
And the thing is, they had Pentagon do it. You would think that they would have Phoenix do it because it was such a smaller area.
Moves. That's one of Penta's signature moves.
No, I know that, but still.
Speaking of PWG, you'll appreciate this. Again.
Yeah, I was gonna say they both ended up doing the Canadian Destroyers, and not to detract away from the Lucha Brothers, but I'm pretty sure Ransom was the only one who had picked the Young Bucks to win. And can I just say real quick, I love them coming out in the Elvis suits for Vegas.
Right?
So great,
Perfect.
so great.
It was pitch perfect. It was pitch.
That
perfect.
was an amazing entrance.
Poot, did you notice that Pentagon hit the Psycho Driver, the pump handle Psycho Driver?
Yes,
I saw that and I marked out real hard. I like the picture of Super Dragon and Sami Zayn watching that match in particular, going, "Son of a bitch, I love it."
They were going, "Son of a bitch, I want to be there." That's what they were doing.
But yeah, that match was so good. It like you said, Beef. It definitely could have main evented for the. Even another match that could have main evented as well. Cody and Cody versus Dustin.
Son of a bitch! You stole my segue.
Damn
you!
Sorry.
Oh, that's all right. I was gonna do the exact same thing. Cody, Dustin
Nice.
Rhodes. Oh,
so good. All the feels.
Dude.
Yeah, that was as far as match storytelling, entrances. It was all spot on, 100%.
Before we get to the match, let's talk about what Cody did with that throne.
Yep.
That was that.
I'm getting goosebumps again.
If this event wasn't just by itself a shot at WWE, that right there was Cody going, "All right, Triple H, you want to fire the first shot? Fine, I'll fire 6 more."
Yeah, and to go off of that, I read a few different things on the Facebook Aroonies. People were throwing Cody heat.
Don't you worry, Ransom. Don't you worry. I got their fucking names, and we got a legendary letdown coming up. But you go right ahead.
We're gonna do that after this match.
Okay. But in Cody's defense, you're right. WWE, Triple H, he fired the first shot. Now, some people argue, well, he was making a rib at Billy Gunn. He wasn't making a rib at AEW. He wasn't making a rib at Cody. Nobody honestly knows what Triple H meant by that other than Triple H. He's the one that knew that. But at the same time, okay, come on. If you're going to say that on your Hall of Fame show, you're going to throw that kind of shade out there for Cody to do what he did. And I believe that, it wasn't an entire night of throwing shade at WWE. It wasn't an entire night of, look at what we're doing. You suck. We can do it on our own. We don't need you. You're the worst. It wasn't that. It was subtle. Well, not subtle, but it was one thing. The throne was there. He got the sledgehammer. Dear Lord in heaven, that was amazing. Gave it a smash, and that was it. He walked away from it. He didn't go up at the end of the match with him and Dustin. They didn't dismantle the throne. They didn't sit on the throne. They didn't kick the throne over. It was one shot fired back just to let them know, hey, we heard what you said. Not a big fan of it. Here's what we're going to do in retaliation.
And one thing that I think, I was going to say, one thing that I thought about that, when I first saw that happening, I was like, okay, I wish he would have destroyed it a little bit more. But now that I was sitting here reflecting on it, I'm like, you know what? It's not a matter of them. Here's my metaphor for it. It's not a matter of him destroying them completely. It's not a matter of them having to compete with WWE to put them out of business like WCW tried to do years ago. It's a matter of putting a chink in the armor saying, hey, we are legitimate competition and you're going to take notice, like just how you notice, like, oh, here's the throne. We obviously know what this is a reference to.
Yep.
It got noticed. So you know, at first I was like,
Excalibur called it. He after Cody, and I forget at what point, but he said you know, the Throne Breaker, and I'm like, that needs to be like, I love the American Nightmare gimmick, but like the fucking Throne Breaker, perfect. That'd be a perfect fucking moniker.
I heard that and I went, man, if I ever decide to pick up Skyrim again, that's going to be the name of an axe.
Yep.
The Throne Breaker.
So let's talk about this match. And yes, it was the feels, and yes, it was incredible. And Goldust hitting the Code Red, hitting a fucking Spanish Fly. Like, holy fuck, Dustin Rhodes. I'm sorry, I called him Goldust. Dustin Rhodes doing amazing things is amazing.
Dude, okay,
but
let me go ahead. Go ahead.
No, so here's a question for everybody. So we were watching with two marginal wrestling fans, fringe wrestling fans, and our wives. Basically, they're forced to watch it whenever we do. And both of them felt that it was too much blood. Me, you know, that's color. Like, to me,
dude,
this is what you call a blood feud. Not because they're blood brothers, but because this is a feud that has to end in blood. To me, I think it was a perfect amount of violence, brutality, blood, and then at the end, kinship.
Okay. The kinship part, I would agree with. I was sitting there watching, and it was myself and Jimmy and Corey, and then a bunch of other people who were there to watch the event. And my one friend's girlfriend, she was doing research saying that, oh, well, you guys don't have to worry about this amount of blood that's coming out. It's not fatal. It's not this. She was talking about the injury. The amount of blood that Dustin Rhodes lost during this match, I'm not going to lie. It was about 10 minutes into the match that I was going like, man, they really need to take care of him because he's losing a shit, like a fuck you amount of blood. Like, it doesn't matter if the injury itself is not life-threatening. The amount of blood he lost was insane. Now, here's the other thing. I watched an interview post-event, like a press conference thing with Dustin Rhodes. And Dustin talked about how proud he was of this match. He even went so far as to say whenever he retires, what does he want his legacy to be? He wants his legacy to be that match. He said that. And
pretty fucking good match.
That is, well, not even a match, but like, I think that's a bold statement on what AEW can deliver. Yeah, okay, it was Cody and Dustin. They know each other, and they both have the experience to make something like that work. But he also said, we took it back to 1986. We took it back to storytelling, to emotion, to something driven past spots and big moves and flashy things. We took it back to something that made you feel. And they really did. Like, the whole time I was going, man, I know I picked Cody to win this, but I hope Dustin goes over because he's bleeding profusely. There were so many times where the camera caught blood pouring out of his head, just hemorrhaging, that I went, oh my God, is he going to die? Like, I was like, it was sickening at some points, but I wanted to see more.
Yeah, fight forever. And this is and you. So we've talked about it a couple of times here. So a lot of people are having some issues with it being a $50 pay-per-view. First of all, that's
fuck you if you have that issue.
WWE was putting out $50 pay-per-views before HD. After HD, they were like $75. So
and they were not as good as this.
Right, but here's the other part of it is that this really facilitates having groups of friends in the same room. Like, you say all you want about, you know, us being together. Like, we honestly get together for NXT, and Poot and I get together a lot more. But like the three of us, we're excited to have you with us, Tom. But traditionally in the past, it's been the three of us and some of our other friends. It's mostly for WrestleMania, sometimes SummerSlam. This, I think, opens that door again because, yeah, you know what? It sucks paying $50 for something, so why not have a group of people come over? Everybody puts a couple bucks in the old kitty. Nobody's out too much. You get to have a wonderful evening of great wrestling with your buddies. Who's the loser here? Nobody.
Well, I'll say this. No offense taken, because I had my trio as well. My buddy Bill and his wife Molly. So shout out to them. We were watching WrestleMania together, but I was Facebook messaging with you guys on the group chat as that was going on. I was like, oh shit, this is going on. Yeah, whatever. That's the one thing. Like me and my buddy Bill, we were friends on Facebook for about a year or so after being kind of introduced. An ex of mine took a jab at him because he's a huge Cena mark, and it was the year whenever I know it's okay. But the year was at the Royal Rumble when it was Cena, Rollins, and was it Lesnar in a triple threat?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so I had said something about Cena losing. She's like, oh, my friend Bill is a huge Cena fan, so she kind of said something like tagged him or whatever, and then him and I friended one another, and we were friends for about a good year or so, and then got together for Survivor Series, and then boom, instantaneous friendship. So no offense taken to that. But hopefully, I'm willing to make the drive to Clearfield or Sarver or wherever to watch a show if it's as good as this. Even if it's not as good as this, just the camaraderie, that's awesome. Like just to bring people together.
Yeah,
yes.
and I want to hear the other two goofballs too. But speaking of buys, by the way, it's being reported that they had around domestic. When I say domestic, I mean America, maybe North America. Domestic buys 900,000. WWE and I can only find stats up to 2013. But prior to 2013, they only had 5 events north of that, and they were all WrestleManias. I think WrestleMania 28 was the biggest draw that they've ever done box office wise. Was 1,280,000. So to start at 900,000, if you can keep that level, and with a product like this, I don't know how you couldn't. But if you can keep the $900,000 buy rate and build from that, you're within a stone's throw.
And I had to try to I was trying to explain that to my girlfriend. Then I was talking with one of my other best friends at a cookout last night, and I explained to him I was like, it's hard to put into words unless you are a wrestling fan to some degree, like how revolutionary this is. I was like, but that alone, that statistic right there, if that doesn't show you that AEW is for real, despite what some of the internet darlings might say or anything like that, but despite what how can you argue that? Like, they are here, they're for real. You better take notice.
And not to mention the fact too that hardcore wrestling fans, or at least the fans that are really, really diehard into the WWE, they have been used to, for the past how many years? If they subscribe to the network, it's
4 or 5 years. Yeah,
it's $9.99 a month. So they're not paying these exorbitant. Well, I don't know about exorbitant. They're not paying $49.99, $59.99 for an event. They're paying $9.99, and they're watching their events. So for people to spend that much money after having been used to the low cost of a high quality wrestling, of a high production value wrestling event, I think that also speaks volumes too. That they're willing to say, you know what, this is worth spending money on.
Absolutely.
And I don't know how many of those people too were just I don't know how many of those people were like, oh, okay, this is AEW. We've heard of them signing Dean Ambrose. Cody's over there. We've never watched an AEW production before. Let's just get one and find out. I don't know how many people that is, encompassing in those numbers, but I don't see it being difficult for AEW if they keep producing what they produced at Double or Nothing. I don't see it being difficult for them to keep those numbers where they're at.
Well, I don't either. And you know what? we could go on about the people who were watching this or what fan base they're gonna have or everything. But you know what? I've been sitting here. We've been talking about Cody versus Dustin, and I'm curious now about Beef's legendary letdown.
Okay, yeah, we'll do that before we talk the main event. We'll do that. So, there are two right now that are swelling to the top. One I'll mention in passing because I've kind of cooled on it, and that is Brock Lesnar winning Money in the Bank. You have 7 guys out there busting their hump, and Sami Zayn should have been 8, and it would have been incredible. You have 7 guys out there busting their hump to be the best. Put on, in my opinion, the best Money in the Bank match that I've seen since the event was the Money in the Bank event. Probably top 2 or 3 of all time, up to the end. And then you have a guy that just waltzes in, grabs a briefcase, and it's a guy that may not be on Raw, after winning the Universal title again for another 6 months. So that soured me a lot on the event. And like I said, I do want to at least talk about Money in the Bank objectively a little bit later. But I mean that's kind of a big deal. And you guys, for those of you who are watching the Pittsburgh Piledriver podcast on Facebook, you guys saw my rant there. It was tough to swallow. Since then, you know what? I like him coming out with the stupid boombox on his shoulder. He looks like he's having fun. Okay, we'll see what happens tonight. We'll see what happens. So I'm tabling that one for now. But right now, my big legendary letdown is with some fans. And yes, I know it's the internet beef and that everybody's going to disagree with everything. You can post on the internet, hey man, the sky looks really blue today. And someone's going to say, no man, it's green. So I get that. But my God, there are people out there who are specifically rooting against AEW. You can say what you will about my opinion being wrong. You can say what you will about me having a blind opinion. And I'll understandably agree and say, hey, you know what? I am blinded by love with AEW. You're 100% spot on right with that. But here's the thing. If you're going to unobjectively root against somebody because A, everybody else is rooting for it, or B, you love your fucking double E, then you are a short-sighted ass clown. Fight me. Because
that's at the Legend 42.
Competition makes great fucking bedfellows for anybody. And again, I understand that AEW is not calling themselves competition, but let's talk real talk. They're fucking competition.
They're actually going out of their way to say they're not competition, they're an alternative.
And yes, there are different nights on TV. Yes, there are different nights on pay-per-view. I get all of that. But if you take the wrestling fan base as a pie and you are saying, hey, you know what, there's only so much pie to go around, AEW is trying to take from that pie that WWE
some poontang pie
have been sitting on their fucking shelf getting dusty for the last 5, 6, 7 years.
Ew, dusty poontang pie? Ew.
Oh,
exactly.
God.
So for you fucking dumbass smarks,
Okay,
at me,
all right.
it's fine. No. I'm going somewhere with this. I'm not really. But for you dumbasses who are out there rooting actively against AEW, talk to me. Direct message me. I will do a Facebook Live and bring you on camera with me so that we can have a discussion as to why you believe that you need to root against the success of AEW, because AEW succeeding is good for everybody.
I'd also like to just pop in here real quick and say, before Poot gets on his tangent, if there are any of you that have been referred to as dumbasses by the preceding legendary letdown, and you are listeners of the Pittsburgh Piledriver podcast, don't stop listening. We'll kick beef off. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
No, like I said,
so we got Tom in the wings
I'm
waiting.
the Vince McMahon of this podcast. Listeners are more important than talent. So you keep listening. We can get rid of beef. We can replace him with some other schmuck. It's fine.
With Tom,
like
Tiger Bomb Tom.
If you wanna, if you guys want to at me on Twitter, direct message me on Twitter. If you guys want to get at me on Facebook, I'm just waiting because I've had all kinds of discussions over the last 72 hours of people that are just railing it, going
Discussions
at
or
Cody for
fights?
well,
What have you had?
I mean,
You
there's
don't have
a fine
discussions.
line.
You have fights with people.
There's a fine there's a fine line, but I have so far in any interaction that I've had zero justification as to why anybody would root against AEW. Zero good justification.
Oh, fair
So
enough.
you know
All
what?
right.
If you classify yourself under the quote unquote dumbass smart category, which I just referenced, and you have a problem with what I just said, hey, let's have a conversation. Explain to me your point of view. And you know what? Maybe I can understand a little bit better. But I just, for the life of me, I cannot understand people rooting against this just because they are wearing WWE blinders. I don't get it.
Okay,
you know, and to be fair, also, Beef, I didn't actually mean that. I don't give a shit about these people. I love them.
wow, you're champion, everybody. You're champion,
You know what?
everybody.
I wanna have a piggyback off of what you said. I don't have a Ransom's legendary letdown because I'm not legendary. So I want to have a Ransom's mediocre letdown.
You mean the ransom note?
No, I'm not really ranting. It's more of a letdown. But I'm not legendary, so my letdown is just going to be mediocre. I'm let down with the fact that, at least in my eyes, and I don't know how you three guys see it, and I don't know how any of the idiot marks that listen to this show see it. Oh, I don't actually mean that. That was Beef's words, not mine. My biggest letdown after watching. Shut your whore mouth.
Oh, no.
My biggest letdown after watching this event is the fact that, while it was amazing, yes, I can't place it above the last NXT Takeover event. Wow. I'm not saying the last NXT Takeover event was better. I would say that they are very much par for the course with each other. Content, matches, commentary, storylines, all of it. For me, those two events, Double or Nothing and the last NXT Takeover, were very much equal. And that's my big letdown, is the fact that a WWE-produced show with WWE employees, with WWE money, can put on just as good a show as Double or Nothing. But they fucking refuse to do it. Okay. WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Money in the Bank, it's all disappointing bullshit. When you have the talent, you have the brains, you have the storyline, look at your NXT. Right there is a prime example of what WWE could be doing to be exactly on par with the show that AEW just put out. And like you said, Beef, I don't care what anybody says. The past few events that WWE has put out, their main roster, main events, pay-per-views, special, whatever you call them that are on the network now, they have not been as good as Double or Nothing. They just haven't been. I don't know if there's a way that you can convince me otherwise. You're welcome to try, and I'm not closed-minded, but it's damn hard to do so. And that's my disappointment, is that WWE could do it, and I'm just hoping that there is that glimmer. I'm shouting back to it again. Shut up, Poot. I'm just hoping that there's that glimmer that once Vince McMahon is either dead or catatonic or involved in the XFL, whatever. I'm not right now, at least, I'm not hoping death upon anybody. But my glimmer of hope is that once he's out of the picture, one way or another, WWE programming, main roster programming, will elevate itself to where NXT is and to where AEW is. And that we will shut up! And that we will really we'll be the winners. It doesn't matter what the ratings are for WWE is, what the ratings are for AEW is. The ratings for the fan is we win because we get great product on both sides.
All right. Let me pose this to you. And it's an idea that I came up with today on my way home from work. So, back in the day, when the territories were still a thing and Vince McMahon bought effectively the WWF, right? He bought that, and it was basically the Northeast Territory, correct?
Yeah, New York.
Okay,
right.
He basically Northeast Territory. Vince McMahon, younger than all those other guys, more ambitious, more willing to reach out and try something different. He's the one. Yeah, okay. Was he cutthroat? Yes. Did he do anything to really succeed and make all his money? Yes, he did. However, he saw the writing on the wall. He saw the opportunity. He saw the advancement in technology with pay-per-views, cable television, etc., to expand his brand, and he took it. Funny thing is, nowadays, Vince McMahon is becoming what he killed. He's becoming
NWO?
the what?
I said the NWO?
Not the NWO. No, I'm talking about back in the day when he killed the territories. McMahon is sitting on his laurels and he's saying, I know what's best. Don't question me. I know what should be done. I know what this, and it's causing this muddled, confusing, ridiculous thing in WWE. Now, now AEW all of a sudden is a thing and is a contender, right? And McMahon, he has tonight to respond. He has tonight to make it a thing and to
Negative.
make it tonight
Negative.
as it is, it would be May 27th.
This is not going to be their response. Their response is going to be next Saturday. I guarantee it.
Well, even next Saturday, that's fine. Even if that's the response. But the thing is, Vince has to realize, and according to some videos I watched, it was Cultaholic on YouTube. I watched a video. Cultaholic and the Sports Entertainer. Between those two, Vince, apparently is actually shaken by AEW's production. He admired them and their production. He admired them. He was literally like, wow, this looks great. He was thumbs up on it. You know what I mean? But it was the fact that as it went on, he apparently watched some of it and was shaken because it's not Dime Store. It's not just Impact Wrestling. It's more. It's bigger. It's important. And it's a change.
Would you say that it's not a pissant promotion then?
It is not a pissant promotion. And that's the thing, is that Vince, oh man, the birds are chirping. It's a beautiful day,
really
isn't it? So
birds.
My point is, Vince at this point, until he figures something out or releases the reins to Triple H to let him make the quality of all of WWE product as good as NXT, Vince has become what he killed back when he killed the territories. He has become stagnant. He has become frustrated. He has become, well, I know best, and this is what people love, and they'll love it because I'm giving it to them. No, that's not the way it works. So he has to answer them, and he has to answer them smart, and he has to even sit and go, do I really know what's best? Will he do that? Probably not. Will he have some people around him that will say enough to him to make him go, Vince, you got to do something different? Maybe he will finally listen to reason after seeing the product.
Yeah, I think I read something along the lines of that as well, where it was him and I think I can't remember what the article was or where it was, but it was on the stupid internet. But it was him, Kevin Dunn, I think Bruce Pritchard, and Triple H watched either all or bits and pieces here and there of AEW. And the article that I read referenced something along the lines of Vince being furious. I don't know if that is translated from worry, but Vince being visibly mad, not at anything that they did, but at the fact that it was so good. And I don't know how legitimate this article is, but his source of contention was with his own talent, saying that Vince was mad and said to the guys that were watching with him that our talent needs to step it up. Our talent needs to do better.
A poor carpenter blames his tools. A poor carpenter blames his tools.
Yes.
Well, listen, before we jump on the shit on Vince McMahon bandwagon, just one article that I read. Who knows if that was
I've never heard any of
even
this.
true, or B, if the source was at all accurate. That's just one stupid article that I read
It's
internet.
believable.
Well, it's
It
believable.
is, and that's why I
So-
mentioned it, because I can see Vince McMahon, of everything that anybody has ever talked about with him, I could see him going, well, this is bullshit. My storylines are great. My production is great. It's my talent. They suck.
Oh yeah,
Well,
100%. Before we get into all this though, we still got to talk about the main event of AEW.
Oh my
Double or
God!
Nothing.
Yeah, we got to digress back. Also, Tom, you
We
still
did.
there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I was just letting you guys go for a little bit there.
Sorry,
I
we're
picked my
losing it
spots.
here.
No, that's okay. I pick my spots and jump in when necessary. I'm multitasking over here too. So you're
So
good.
the one thing
You're
I
good.
want to say, the one thing I want to say about the main event is that for me personally, it did not live up to expectations, but it's because Cody and Dustin was so good, and the Luchas versus Young Bucks were so
Yup.
good, and I had higher. So after watching Jericho Omega 1, I really felt like this would just be an absolute tear down the house. Like, oh my God, this, and it wasn't. But I was having a conversation with somebody today on one of said sites, and
Oh,
he
boy.
put it very, very well. No, this is a good one. He said that
Well, you're pissing
Omega
the
and
dogs off.
Jericho that Omega and Jericho was
The big dog.
it couldn't be the big dogs.
I hate
Omega
you
and
all.
Jericho, Omega and Jericho could not be
Spit it
like
out.
the show stealer this night. Omega and Jericho could not be like the top match on the card. They had to do something completely different, and what they did was 100% brutality. Within 10 minutes of the match starting, both of their chests were bright freaking pink, and that was the start of the match.
Okay, so I thought the match was what it needed to be because honestly, to me, yeah, we wanted to see Omega Jericho too. And we got Omega Jericho too, but really what it was to me, and you can argue whether it was or not, was a vehicle for Mox to debut.
Mm-hmm.
That's all this was like, I mean, not what, okay, that's a little bit of a bold statement, but it's not all it was. Omega Jericho 2, they delivered a middle of the road match, which both of them could do in their sleep. Okay. This
I think
was
it's better than that. I think it was a good borderline great match, just like Guevara versus
Well,
Sabian. But the
but-
problem is that Kenny Omega, his nickname in New Japan for the last year has been the best bout machine, and that's what I expected was the best bout
Yeah,
on the
well,
card.
But again, that's a gimmick. Like, I mean, not that he can't do that. He can, 100%. But it's the fact that that name and that gimmick, that's a gimmick. It's a gimmick. The best bout machine. You could call me that.
Oh,
But like, it's the fact that it's the fact that this was an interesting, good, strong way to start a feud between Adam Page and Jericho and Omega and Mox.
Right.
That's what this match was for.
And it was brutal. I think that this match was very, very hard hitting. They were definitely not pulling any punches, as the saying goes. They were going off. So kudos to them, because it's tough to follow great match after great match after great match. So it needed to be something different, and I think it achieved that.
Now,
Yeah.
how big?
By no means, I was gonna say by no means was it a bad match at all, which I don't think anybody is saying. But just to make sure the clarification's there for anybody who's listening, that's like saying, "Oh, well, it sounds like they were, not so much." Like, no, it was still a good match. It was just when you're expecting a 10, when you're expecting an 11 or a 12 and you get a 10, it wasn't quite there. But I loved it. I think it was really good. And because of the fact of Mox, or I should say the supposed fact that we all had an inkling that he was pretty much going to debut at Double or Nothing, and regardless of who won the Battle Royal, even if it wasn't Hangman Page, that's why I had Jericho going into this, because I was like, he needs to get that series between him and Omega evened up, and then they can come back to it after they work a program. But heel Jericho
good.
is so good. Like when he grabbed the cameraman's camera and
He's
is
done that
filming
before, and it's always great.
he has, and I love the little callback to that, and that was so great.
how great was his entrance
Just,
too?
That entrance was phenomenal.
yeah.
The,
The
the
nod.
progression of Jericho, man, that
Yes.
was amazing.
The
that was
Lionheart. I
so
thought he
good.
was going to come out as the Lionheart. I thought
Right?
it
So
was.
did I. Yeah, so did I.
It was, and then you know what? It speaks to his. It speaks to Jericho being the heel that he is. That the whole lead up to this was that he wanted to thank you from Kenny and from everybody in AEW for making AEW relevant. Blah 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 blah. So the fact that he made you wait, he wants you to be like, okay, please come out. We want you to come out, please, and then thank you for finally coming out. Like that's what he did. Like it was
Yep.
so perfect, so
It
perfect.
was.
Yep.
It was an amazing entrance.
And
Great match. Great. I'll say it. It was a great match. It was very brutal, very strong style. So I did like it.
and it
I
was.
think
it-
if this match hadn't have come after Cody and Dustin and Young Bucks and the Lucha Brothers, like I think if you would have started off the event with this match, I think at least in my eyes, I would have looked at it and gone, nah, solid match all around. It was great. I have nothing bad to say about it in the slightest. But it's like, how do you follow those other two matches?
Oh my god!
I feel like we're saying that this match, the Jericho Omega match, didn't live up to the Cody Dustin and the Young Bucks Lucha Brothers match.
How do you follow any of the matches though? Like
Well-
when I saw the Best Friends versus and Helico and Evans, I was like, man, what a great match. When I saw the women's 4-way, I'm like, man, what a great match. And then
well,
it's
here's
great. All of it. It's been great.
okay. Let me ask a question before we get to hot tag trivia, which we're gonna do. Let me ask you a question. Why don't we each
12.
give what our main event should have been
Ooh.
and why? Why
Okay,
don't we start
I'm
with
down.
Tiger Bomb Tom?
Ooh, well, it's hard. I hate to cop out and say I have two because it would have been the other two matches.
You
There's
and Adam with your
reasonably-
two things all the
I know.
time.
No,
Hey,
Ah,
that's minds think
ransom.
alike, you dumb bastard.
No, I will say this. It could have been either. There's good reasons for both. It could have been Young Bucks tag match because you had titles on the line. That was the only set of titles on the line for the night. Obviously, because the AEW, world title hadn't been introduced yet. Which, can I just say real quick? I was a little bit let down with the presentation of it. Like it was just kind of like they cut away from Hangman Page in that segment, and it was just like, oh shit, there's the title out. Bret Hart's holding it in the ring, which
I
that
blame
was a big
stupid
deal.
Bret Hart for that. He's an idiot.
So
Also,
but
I
that
disagree
aside,
with Beef. That belt's ugly.
You're
I
wrong.
think you're an idiot too.
I love it. And anyways,
Dumbass,
so
dumbass smart.
You want to know why I think it's ugly?
No,
You're
we don't.
stepping on Tom's
Move
toes
on.
here.
All right, go ahead, Tom.
I will say that could have been the main event because the fact the titles were on the line and the match was so good and so just amazing. I might have to get the edge over to Cody Dustin because it hit all the marks. It was a great match. It had great storytelling, the build up, the storytelling in the match itself, the violence and brutality, and then the kinship at the end with, he's like, I never wanted to be in the ring with my brother. He's like, but then he asked him to be his partner for the next event. Like, it's just, it hit all the marks. And I think with something like that, the two of them embracing afterwards and, walking up the ramp together, and Cody's, kind of walking him up with, holding Dustin up under his arm and stuff like that, that you could have ended the show that way and it would have been perfect. So I'm going to go, if you had to pick a different main event besides what we got, Cody Dustin.
All right, Beef.
I'm actually I was thinking that, and for all the reasons you said, Tom, but I'll be contrarian because I like to fight and argue. And
course
I
you
will
do.
pick.
It's true.
Oh yeah, 100% at me. Come at me. Dumbass marks. Anyway, I'm gonna stand back.
Wow.
Listen
I'm
here,
gonna-
Blue Meanie.
Oh, that's
Get that man
that's-
some aloe vera for that burn.
We'll put that.
All right.
We'll put that in a pocket for later.
the burn award
I'm
goes.
standing pat. Yeah, right.
What's that?
Uh-huh.
What'd you
I
say,
said
Ransom?
the burn award goes to Tiger Bomb Tom.
Yeah, right.
Thanks, sir.
I'm going to stand pat, and I'm going to say Jericho Omega was the right decision to close the show for two reasons. One, you had the greatest of all time. And I mean, yes, I know that Ric Flair has had a great career, lots of titles, but to me, with what Jericho's done in WCW, WWE, WWF first, and then WWE, New Japan, able to reinvent himself at every single turn. Ric Flair has been the same guy that he was at the beginning that he is now, just a little bit older and can't take a hip drop anymore, or a back body drop. Jericho is a new. Every time he goes somewhere, it's a new invention. So to me, greatest of all time, or at least in that conversation. So you have probably one of the greatest of all time, Chris Jericho, and you have, again, in my opinion, the best wrestler in the world right now, Kenny Omega. Those two, and like you said, Poot, they could have sleepwalked and put together a good match, and I think that everybody knew that. I think you needed a strong heel moment from Jericho to really get the crowd to turn on him, and I think you got that. And I think you needed the craziness with Mox to send the fans home happy, and you got that as well. So I think that it was a perfect main event for what it was.
Ransom.
Goldberg Lesnar.
All hail the Mad King champ.
Jesus Christ.
I'm calling it now. Next AEW pay-per-view, Goldberg Lesnar for the AEW title.
All right, we're done with Ransom. So
Oh fuck.
Honestly, what do you think?
For me, it's Jericho Omega, and I mirror every statement that Beef made. I feel like that was the right call, especially if you're going to bring in Moxley. Like, how do you bring him in? If that's the match you bring him in as? How many have I had? This is only 2.
Same, bro.
If that's the match that you choose to bring Moxley in around with,
all
how
of the
how do you do that
prepositions.
Yeah. How do you do that in the middle of the card? Like, you really can't. You can't do it in the opening. You can't do it in the middle of the card. You're going to blow a super big, huge spot. It's got to be at the end. And do you really bring Moxley in at the end of Cody Dustin? Why? It doesn't make any sense. You bring him in at the end of the AAA tag team title match? Why? It doesn't make any sense. He's not in a tag team in AEW. He's not going to be challenging for those titles.
Well, let's not forget, though. Sorry to interject, but it's not saying whether Kenny Omega and Jericho should have been, but if there was a different main event, which one would you say it would have been, though? Like, I agree that.
Yeah. I see. Okay, so I read that question differently. I thought he was saying of all the matches on the card, what should have been the main event?
That's honestly what I meant. Was like,
okay,
should it have been what main evented, or should it?
I thought it was the best choice for the main event. So if I'm saying what should have main evented, Jericho Omega. That's what I would say.
Oh no, because I agree. I agree. Jericho Omega should have main evented, and obviously it did. But if you were going to go with a different one, I would have definitely gone with Cody Dustin, hands down. Like, well, I can't say hands down. It gets the edge over Bucks Lucha Brothers, but no, it definitely was the right decision for all the reasons you guys are mentioning. Mox's debut, Jericho with his heel moment and everything like that. And
I get the feeling.
Yeah.
I get the feeling that we're going to see the AEW crowned sometime this summer. I think it All Out. I think that's going to be the Bucks and the Lucha Brothers moments to shine. I bet you we see them in a ladder match for the AEW tag team titles at All Out, and I couldn't be more excited.
Are they debuting a tag team title?
They would have to. I mean,
it only makes sense.
Bucks, yeah, with the Bucks wanting the tag teams to be a large focus, and with having arguably 2 of the best tag teams in the world under your brand, it doesn't make sense not to.
That's a fair point. Very good point.
I'll be excited to see when they debut a women's title as well.
Also true.
All right.
Yeah.
No.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. Go on.
No, I was just gonna say, and I really don't think, aside from maybe one subtitle, like having your AEW Heavyweight Championship, your tag your tag championship, women's title, and maybe one other subtitle, I don't think you really need to go balls to the wall with titles for everyone. You know what I mean? Which is unfortunately something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, which is something that
you get a title. Everybody gets a title.
Well, then it'd be like WWE.
Exactly.
Or New Japan. Yep. Well, and reportedly it's less than 5. Ideally, I'd love to see them do heavyweight, tag team women's, and then have the middle belt be what the X Division title was back in like the TNA Impact days, where it was no weight classes, no divisions. It was just, craziness, and like anybody could go for it, and it was wonderful.
I like that idea. I'm not going to lie. That was and having to harken back to Impact there. Whenever Austin Aries, chose option C and decided to, make that, you could, once you won that title, you could decide to, it kind of almost use it like the Money in the Bank thing, cash it in towards a heavyweight title opportunity. I think something like that would be great. I'm on board with that. I'm okay with that. I don't think for the wrestlers that they have and a lot of the style that they have anyways, I don't think you need to do like a light heavyweight championship or anything like that. So, 4 or 5 titles top, I'm good with that.
Absolutely agreed. So what I would say, I actually kind of have to mirror Tom on this one. If you were going to have something that was the main event, I would have it be Cody versus Dustin. Now, and hear me out how the booking would go. First of all, actually, before I get into this, here's the reason why I think the title's ugly. Is because of the actual belt, the shape of it, the ornate design is gorgeous. That big, dumb, sloped, italic AEW in the middle offsets all that. That's my umbrage with that. The font that they have for the AEW in the middle just is juxtaposed against the rest of the belt. To me, it's too much of a stark contrast to look attractive. The actual belt itself, the plates and the size and everything is great. It's very European, very Japan. It looks great. But that font, it looks like you took a generic belt and stamped that on there. That's why I think it looks ugly. Now, obviously, it'll probably grow on me, and I'll a podcast or 3 from now, I'll say it looks amazing. But it just like that logo looks so damn out of place on that belt. It should have been a little more ornate to go with the rest of the belt. Anyway, I'm going to mirror Tom on this one and say that Cody and Dustin could have been the main event. And here's how you would book it. You have Jericho and Omega in the middle or near the end of the card, and that would be fine. What you do, instead of having... You could still have Adam Page win the 20-man Casino Battle Royal. Instead of
50.
someone like Tommy Dreamer and... What?
I'm an idiot. Go ahead.
Instead of having someone like Dreamer in there, have Mox actually debut near the end of the match, clean house, wreck shop, throw Adam Page out of there. Okay? You have choices at this point. You have Mox win, and then you could have Omega win the match, or you could have Jericho go over because of interference from Mox. Now, I understand that AEW and the powers that be there have said they didn't want any shifty garbage this pay-per-view. They wanted everything to be definitive, but you could have done it that way. You could have had, Omega look like he's about to put Jericho away, have Mox come in, give him the dirty deeds or whatever he's going to call it now, and then have Jericho go over. Jericho wins. He goes into a feud with Adam Page, and Omega still has an issue with Mox. You can still go into Omega Mox. That's how they could have done it. Do I think they should have done it that way? No. This was pitch perfect. Like, everything they did, the way they did, was what it should have been. It is now written in stone as a piece of wrestling history. That's what AEW Double or Nothing is. The way they've done it, the way they booked it, it's perfect.
Okay.
So there
I
you
agree.
go. Why don't we do some hot tag trivia, bitches?
Why don't we? Who's
Alright.
doing what?
Why not, Beef? Why don't you, first of all, give a shout out to our sponsors again and then tell us what hot tag trivia is.
Yeah, slut.
Of course. You call me a slut?
Slut.
Well,
You
I mean-
Jane, you ignorant
You
slut.
ignorant prostitute, sex for money.
Wow.
All right, then. So,
Really
sponsors.
derailed fast.
We have
Right
Of
in front of the
course,
sponsor intro, too. Right in front
right in front of them, yeah, right? Hard cut.
That's all right.
Hard cut.
Hard-
Sponsors.
hard
50% of our sponsors say it's okay.
We're good. We're good. WrestleDeals.com. We love their continued support. Your home for violent deals and bloody good prices. Got it right this time.
Hey,
Um,
you got it.
We're super excited to have them aboard, and just the reach of Sean Tischler and all he does with the independent scene in Central PA. So thanks, man. We appreciate that, and of course our homeboy Tiger Bomb Tom over here in the Casual Gaming's Dad's Corner on Facebook. Like him,
And-
follow him.
And
Yeah,
and I'll
plug
tell you
in.
what. I'll tell you what. This shows just how dedicated I am to you guys. I'm actually currently multitasking to make a post to tell everyone, hey, guess what? I'm doing a podcast with these guys, and I am not going to make it for a stream for 5 o'clock. So suck it.
no.
You'll
Oh, my.
probably make it. You'll probably make it.
Nah, that's all right. I would still have to set up and light and everything. So that's all right. We keep them waiting. Swerve.
Listen to that dedication, folks. That's what a sponsor should be. So we thank both of you guys so much.
Wild card!
Wild card.
All right, so what's hot tag trivia there, dum-dum?
Nothing good.
Good. Well, hey, why don't I ask Ransom there, and then Ransom can ask Tiger Bomb Tom. Tiger
Okay.
Bomb Tom can then ask Poot, and Poot, you can ask me.
You set yourself up, buddy.
Please
Hey, I
wreck
love it.
him, Poot. Please wreck
I
him.
love it.
Oh,
I love it.
I'm going to do it.
Yes.
So, we talked a good deal about competition, and that's kind of been the focus since the start of the Pittsburgh Piledriver podcast about the competition. So I'm going to focus again on the last time there was competition. The very last time, in fact, was the WCW pay-per-view Greed. That was their very last production.
Oh, gross.
And in continuing with the Lincolns, Dustin Rhodes was also a part of that historic event as well. Historic for the wrong reasons, but part of that as well. What role did Dustin Rhodes play in WCW Greed, their final pay-per-view?
Who are you asking again?
You, Ransom.
Fuck.
You know, weirdly enough, I remember this. Go on.
What did you say to me, Beef? What did he do?
Yeah,
Was he
so
in-
Dustin
was he,
Rhodes,
He was
Dustin-
wrestling for them, right?
he was. Yeah, Dustin Rhodes was involved with the last WCW pay-per-view Greed. And I'll give you a hint, it's ironic. In what fashion did he compete, or with whom did he compete?
Oh,
I guess
Beef,
is-
give me this. Give me this if he can't.
Okay,
Who did he compete with?
correct. With whom did he compete?
I can't remember him being. This
This was the
isn't
second
when
run.
this isn't when he was doing that stupid 7 gimmick, was it?
No, so Seven was around for like a cup of coffee. And I think at this point they brought him back
Literally
as
for
the
like
match
3 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So he wasn't doing that stupid gimmick. He came out and shit all over that.
You sure did.
I don't remember him having a. I vaguely remember this pay-per-view. I watched it like a year or so
Bad.
ago on the
Happy
network.
birthday.
Bad.
everybody.
It's bad.
Yeah, it wasn't
It's
good.
bad.
He wasn't in a singles match, was he?
He
I
wasn't.
don't think he was in.
Nope.
No, he wasn't in a singles match.
No, sir.
I don't remember them having any big gimmick matches. So he would have been in a tag team match. Is that right?
That's correct.
Yup.
Okay. So he's in a tag team match. I want to say that Flair was involved because he still would have been there. Him and somebody went against freaking Ric Flair and who was that other guy that been shed on? Jarrett. Dustin and somebody versus Flair and Jarrett. Is that at all accurate?
You are 3/4 of the way there, my
You're
friend.
there, man.
Fuck.
You are there.
I have no idea. I have no idea who the hell he would have tagged with.
I'm not gonna lie, like you did this with Waylon Mercy too. And
Yeah.
whenever you start to like walk yourself through it, I'm like, is he looking it up on his phone right now? Is he just stalling for time, or are you just like legit like walking your?
I
Because
think-
I mean,
I'm trying to think back and freaking
Dude.
think of what. I don't know. I can't even remember who was all on that pay-per-view.
see, I'm glad that I'm glad that I decided to ask you this question because you like to ask specific event questions, which drives me crazy. But this is historic, so
Can you before I fold on this because I'm struggling.
you can't afford. But you're 75% of the way there.
Can you give me any sort of hint?
No.
I've already given you.
No.
I've already given you a hint. If
Shut up,
if-
Poot. This isn't your question. Mine's
Shut
so
up,
damn-
you.
shut up.
Can I give him a hint?
I've already
I'll give him a
given
hint.
you a pin.
I'll give him a hint.
No. Do not give him a hint.
No.
Poot. And be a big boy for the town of zone. I
it's-
said it was ironic. So
It's just putting him in the
Wait. You said what?
I said it's ironic.
Ironic what?
No,
match?
The way
it was during the Natural Born Thrillers era.
I have no idea who that is.
all right. So no, I said I can't. I would hand it to you if I gave you
something in this match is ironic.
just the fact that we're talking about it is ironic.
Oh, you
Okay.
handed it to him.
I did.
Well-
there was no easy way to give it to him.
Okay. Well, it wasn't. Cody was never in WCW, was he? No,
I don't
Cody
know.
was he?
Was he?
No, don't do that. No.
This would have been the tail end of their. This would have been what 2000. So
There's no way Cody would have been in WCW. No, Cody wasn't there.
Hmm.
Jericho wasn't there. Who else the hell was at freaking AEW? It would have caused any sort of irony. No. Well, nobody freaking would have because they're all young. DDP. Well, oh wait, was
Ooh.
DDP there at that time?
There you go.
I'm sure DDP was there, but was he freaking wrestling? Because he didn't wrestle on the last Nitro.
Poot's chomping at the bit. He's got it.
Mind your own business, Poot. Frick.
Yeah,
So,
I'll just say I know nothing about this, so I'm chomping away at nothing. So don't worry.
The only other person I could think of was freaking DDP, but I don't even remember him being at the last Nitro. Why would he be at this pay-per-view if he wasn't at the last Nitro? So the only other people were freaking, it was DDP, nobody else wasn't. Uh-oh. It was Dusty, wasn't it? That's the irony. It was Dusty. Was it
That's
Dusty?
You are correct, sir.
you handed it to him. You handed it to
damn.
him.
Hey,
That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, Dustin in the last competition before moving over to WWF or WWE full time at that again. He competed on the last one with family, and now he competed with the new competition with family as well.
By the
Wow,
way,
nice.
by the way, I remember this. DDP did wrestle on that. It was a Falls Count Anywhere match with Scott Steiner and him for the championship.
Was it
Yeah.
really?
Yes.
Yep.
I wonder why I was thinking DDP for some reason. I didn't even remember Scott Steiner wrestled in that match. Maybe I shut
Yep.
it off.
Scott Steiner won that match actually.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, because didn't he face Booker T at the very last Nitro for the title?
And Booker T won. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. Some of a bitch.
Go ahead, Ransom.
Who am I asking?
Tom.
Tom.
This is a
Here we go.
stat question, so I don't know if it's gonna go well. But
Okay.
we'll power through.
We'll power through.
I gotta find it.
We'll power through like a renegade. Renegade
Here we go.
radio.
Wild card.
Oh, the Renegade. Yuck.
No, that was a throwback Easter egg there for Ransom.
Renegade Radio. What was that?
Oh,
Did I forget something? What have I forgotten?
our friendship is in question now.
Oh shit! All right, let's go ahead and hurry up. And
I've
change
been
the subject.
saying that since I've known him, Tom.
What do you mean in question? We're not even really friends.
Oh
Yeah,
my!
You too.
What's
That's
that?
so nice though. Well,
I just
This
keep
whole
you around
thing.
to take this belt off of you. That's all.
Oh,
Oh,
listen to
sick
Captain
burn.
Wow over here.
That's right. WOW. Look at me. I can spell. Okay, so the stupid WWE and their stupid Royal Rumble. Who has had the most appearances in the Royal Rumble match?
Ransom
Oh,
hates it
geez.
now. Ransom hates WWE now and forever. It's forever sullied to him.
Yeah,
Forever.
Just the most appearances.
yeah. It has nothing to do with wins or losses. Most
Or
appearances
eliminations.
in Royal. Yes, nothing to do with that.
Oh, son of a bitch.
I'll tell you this.
The gobbledygook.
There is a 3-way tie for
Ooh.
the number 1 spot.
Okay.
Ooh.
Well, I'm just trying to think of number 1 who has the most victories, because obviously they would have to be appeared to have victories. So,
Well, just remember Goldberg appeared in a Royal Rumble, so.
no, well, fuck him. No. Let's not even talk. Don't get me started on that. Don't get me hyped. Don't get me all fired up.
I really keep trying to throw it back to Goldberg anytime Tom's on the show because I just want to make him crazy.
That's a good way to do it too. I know, right? So, all right. So I'm trying to think of who has the most wins, but I'm thinking like who's also been around for a while too. So I'm gonna take a stab in the dark, and I'm gonna say Orton.
Yep. That's
Damn.
one of them.
All right. Okay, that's one
Huh.
of them. So I'm not sure on the other two, but I'll say maybe one of the other two.
Well, what? Since he got one of them, why don't you give Beef and I the other two?
There you go. That's good. I'm fair with that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, all right. So Orton's won.
I'm gonna say Ray.
Sorry, I was swallowing beer. No, Ray is not right.
Oh, damn it.
There it was.
I have
Mm.
I have a chip on Kane.
Also not right.
Oh wow.
You know
okay.
what? Can I take a stab at one of the other ones? How about
Yes.
Kofi?
No.
Oh.
Okay. Well, fuck.
So Randy Orton was one.
Cena?
Who's big buddies? Who's Orton big buddies with? Come on, you guys should
Oh,
really get
Triple
this.
H.
Oh, Triple H.
There you go. There's one. And then there's another one that I really didn't think of until I read it, and I thought, oh, you know what? That makes sense. He has been there that long.
Michaels?
Dustin Rhodes.
Nope.
Oh.
Nope and nope. He's got a hit TV show with his wife.
Miz?
The Miz?
Really?
Wow.
No
Orton,
shit.
The Miz and Triple H are tied with 16 Royal Rumble appearances.
Huh.
Wow.
Who is right beneath them with 15? And Beef, once again, the irony.
Cody?
Dustin.
Nope and nope.
Dustin, yeah. Oh. Jericho.
There you go.
All right.
He
Man,
was
Jericho's
15.
done a lot of shit.
Yeah,
hell yeah.
that's what I'm saying. He's always inventing himself. Yeah, man. He's great.
All right. Tom.
Yeah.
He's right up there with probably one of the best, if not the best, one of the very few best of all.
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
I agree.
Tom, come
All right,
at me,
so-
buddy.
All right. We talked about how much you hated the AEW championship,
Oh,
and you said something about how it was very European-esque. So my question for you is, I hearkened almost the last podcast I was on with you. Who defeated who to unify the Intercontinental and European Championship?
yes, it was a European title championship question. Yes.
Wait, unify the what?
Intercontinental and European Championship.
I feel like the European
Intercontinental-
Championship didn't get enough
Intercontinental and
recognition.
European.
Yep.
Both overseas, poop.
Oh no. Oh. The Intercontinental and European.
Oh, no.
Fuck.
Swearing.
The Intercontinental and European Championship. So, okay. I'm trying to think. Was that was the European Championship? I always forget because, like I said, there was a giant time where I didn't watch wrestling.
This might have been during that time.
Was it?
I don't know.
No, I was gonna say, was it mid-late 2000s? Was it mid-late? Because if it was mid-late, this isn't when I was watching, and I'm gonna have to just take a shot in the dark.
No, this was like early 2000s.
Wasn't it right around the time of the Invasion storyline? Isn't that when they got rid of it?
I don't know.
It was before then because they brought the U.S. title over as the Invasion storyline.
Wait. They didn't.
No.
I remember this. I remember this. They didn't do it. They didn't do it on a pay-per-view. This why I keep thinking like pay-per-views. This was on a random Raw, wasn't it?
That I'm not sure of.
Okay, wait.
Yeah, don't give me
So
hints.
if it was early 2000s, who were big? Oh, when was this?
If it helps you, I'll give you a year.
All right,
2002.
2002.
Goldberg.
Oh, all right. 2002. This was near the end when I... Oh, wait. Yeah, this was right at the tail end when I stopped watching. Let me think. So, I remember... That was about the time that... That was about the time that Rob Van Dam was on his rise, wasn't it?
Hello, Bruce.
All right, the question is who was in the match?
Yeah, who defeated who to unify the Intercontinental?
Who defeated who? Let me think. That time, fuck, this is the worst. I'm gonna say. Oh God.
Go on.
Rob Van Dam defeated Jeff Hardy?
You son of a bitch. How the fuck did you pull that out of your ass?
You serious?
I kid you not. I kid you not. I'm sitting here with the goddamn WWE encyclopedia in front of me, and I'm like, if he gets this.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm dead serious. You got it. So wait,
RVD. So RVD unified both the Intercontinental and Hardcore and the Intercontinental and European. I remember that.
Holy shit!
Yeah. So
wow.
Rob Van Dam defeated Jeff Hardy. It was. Let's see, July 21st, 2002, to unify the European and Intercontinental Championships, you son of a bitch.
Holy crap, I pulled Jeff Hardy out of my ass, which is what a
You
lot
really
of people
did.
have said.
Kind of wrestles like it.
Poor Jeff Hardy.
Holy shit, I can't believe I got
Beef
that.
really sitting on the old Jeff Hardy there.
The Rob Van Dam. The Rob Van Dam.
I thought you were gonna at least get the Rob Van Dam because I was like, it's a harken back to the last week's question, because he had unified the Intercontinental and Hardcore. I was like, he's gonna get this.
Well, that's what cued me off to Rob Van Dam, but I was sitting there and I'm like, who else was on the rise during that time? Because like I said, it was at the tail end of whenever I was really watching regularly, and I know that at that time Jeff Hardy was on his rise towards the main event.
I was hoping you were gonna go with try to go to the well with Kurt Angle again.
Dude,
I'm like, please.
I was thinking John Cena initially, honestly.
John Cena was never a
That was
European champion.
yeah, that
though.
wasn't even
Right,
yeah,
yeah.
he wasn't like, and that's why I was like, well, he didn't do that, so I went with Jeff Hardy because I remember Hardy being on the rise. Holy
now I will-
shit.
Now I
That
will
What
say-
you got?
Real quick though, I will apologize in advance if you hear kids in the background and stuff because I'm actually leaving to go pick mine up right now. So I will mute my mic at times. Yeah.
Well, we're fixing
But that's
to wrap.
okay. No, I'm just. That's
I'm
okay. I'm
wrapping
just letting you
here.
know before we end up getting to like the picks and stuff. So.
Oh no, I'm gonna. Oh yeah, we got to do. Holy crap! Ooh.
Yeah.
Let's not do picks. We're done.
No, we're doing picks.
All right.
Fuck you.
Well, all right. We're gonna have to do them real quick because we've been
That's fine.
going for well over 2 hours here.
Almost.
Well, we've
Oh, yeah, we are.
come
All
on.
right.
Yeah,
So
put
Beef,
it with your hot tag here.
Beef, you ready for this?
I am.
So I'm gonna harken back to yours. I'm gonna ask you a question about the natural himself, Dustin Rhodes.
Boy.
Dustin Rhodes, he had quite the storied career, and he went from WWF to WCW back to WWF as Goldust. Now, what date and year did Goldust debut, and who was his opponent?
Well, that's a good one.
I want to know the
You're looking
day.
for an exact date?
I
Can
want to know
give you an event?
month, day, year, and his opponent.
Nah.
Gee.
Listen,
You don't ask me a
listen.
lot.
If anybody, you know what? That's what I want.
No chance.
If-
I'll tell you this.
No, if you can give me his opponent, I'll be happy. But I would really like month, day, year.
I might be able to get opponent. But yeah, month, day, year maybe. But I'll tell you what.
All right.
If you like, I might be a wrestling historian, but I don't memorize dates, and
All
I
right.
can
If you
barely
can give me-
recall like
if you can
wrestling
give me
cards
year-
that aren't on pay-per-view.
If
So.
you can give me year and opponent, I'll be happy.
Do it better, Beef.
So the year was either 92 or 93, and probably actually maybe even 94. And the opponent, I remember his debut vignettes. He talked about Bret Hart. He talked about Razor Ramon. Those two being the ones that he's targeting. Both of which were faces, and he of course was a heel coming in. I believe. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it was Razor Ramon.
Final answer. Year. Give me final answer. Year and opponent. I want a final year. This isn't not saying you're
I'll
wrong.
say-
Not
I'll say
saying you're wrong. I just want a
1994.
definitive
I'll say-
answer.
I'll say 1994 Razor Ramon. Marty
Marty.
Jannetty.
I would have said Razor as well because
It
that was
was-
like his first big. That was his
the
first
feud,
big
yeah.
program.
Yep,
Yeah.
it was Marty Jannetty, October 22nd, 1995 at In Your House 4.
Oh, poor Marty.
Damn close, buddy. All
All
right,
right, so let's shotgun these predictions here. So we're talking about
Predictions?
NXT. Yeah, predictions. We're talking about NXT Takeover 25. Originally was scheduled in San Jose. I believe 2 weeks from last Saturday, so a week from this Saturday, but was moved because of the Saudi show. So and they moved the venue to Stanford to Connecticut for reasons.
Man, they just don't care.
I'm
zero fucks.
not quite sure how this is going to be received, but I honestly, and I said this earlier, I think that their response is not going to be tonight. Their response is going to be this Saturday. I think the guys and gals are going to put on a great card. So top to bottom, we have Io Shirai versus Shayna Baszler for the women's title. We have the Street Profits versus Oni and Lorcan versus the Undisputed Era versus the Forgotten Sons in a tag team ladder match. We have Breeze versus Dream.
I was like, don't forget Daniel Burch in there. Only Lorcan ain't taking on a tag team by himself.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Yes. Birch and Lurkin. My bad. Yes. Sorry.
Jackass.
Birch and Lurkin in there. Breeze and Dream for the the North American title. Strong versus Riddle and Cole versus Gargano. Let's start with the women. I got Shirai winning clean.
Who's writing these down?
I am.
I am too. because
Okay.
Beef's handwriting is atrocious, and
Hurtful.
it is Beef's handwriting is nastier than all the blood left in the ring from the Dustin Cody match.
Wow.
Suck it, Beef.
Okay, I'm gonna take this as a wake up call. I'm gonna work on my handwriting.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
gonna commit.
I'm gonna commit.
You really
Dude,
think
you
Io
got-
Shirai's gonna do it? You
Or-
really think it's
I
her
do.
time?
I do.
Eesh.
Because I'll honestly, and here's my thought process. I think the only thing that gets Sasha Banks back on WWE is a four horsewoman versus four horsewoman match at Survivor Series, and I think
Ooh.
that they're gonna need to get Baszler and Shafir and the other one in there as well.
And they're gonna have to kind of turn Charlotte face again, basically. So
Exactly. And
You think
we're-
Ronda's gonna be ready to come back at that point?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, all right.
unless she gets preggers,
Unless she gets Braggers.
is she already?
I don't
I
think
have no idea.
when is Takeover next week?
this Saturday coming up.
This
This
Saturday?
Saturday.
I'm gonna say Baszler hangs on to it until SummerSlam. Baszler.
I'm with Poot on that one. I've been thinking about this one, and I really think I don't think you can take the title off of Baszler just yet. I think it's got to be a slightly bigger venue than this takeover. Which, don't get me wrong, all takeovers are awesome, but
I mean, this is number 25 though, so
yeah,
Yeah, but it's
but-
kind of off kilter.
it is. Are we gonna have a SummerSlam takeover?
oh yeah. Yep.
Okay, so I'm gonna say Baszler retains, and just a forward moving prediction. She'll drop it at the next takeover.
Okay.
I don't
Ransom?
know to who, but we'll see.
I'm gonna go with Baszler winning as well.
All right. Moving on. Tag team match. I believe it is a ladder match for the vacant NXT tag team titles, which, by the way, is bullshit. I think that that people should fucking drop titles before they move up to the main roster. It's fine with
All
Asuka
right.
because she's hurt.
Like
I
Asuka?
was fine with
Like
Asuka
Asuka? Like Asuka?
He was hurt. That's why she relinquished the title. The Viking Raiders are not hurt. So, but I am picking the Undisputed Era here.
Ooh,
Red Dragon for me, please.
I think they're gonna push Street Profits. Honestly, I'm gonna go with Street Profits.
man, I'm deferring to Ransom on this one.
I love Redragon, but Dragon again. But
Rated the Dragon.
but I'm gonna go with Street Profits.
Two Ds for a double dose of the pimp in action. Ransom, what do you got?
I'm gonna go with Undisputed Era just because I want to see them win.
All right, and Tiger Bomb Tom, what you thinking?
I want Undisputed Era to win, but God, I think they're pushing Street Profits enough. And I mean, I don't know. This is a hard one. I hate this. Like the uncertainty of this one kills me. It's definitely not going to be Oni Lorcan
And
and
again-
Daniel Burch.
Again, it's because it's off kilter. It's weird, and it's like scheduled weird.
I'm going to say Street Profits just because they've been pushing them. But if they don't, it wouldn't surprise me if Undisputed Era wins it.
Same.
All right.
So,
Profits
yeah,
then?
go ahead. Yeah,
Alright.
Profits.
Tyler Breeze, in a wonderful return to his home in NXT versus the Velveteen Dream. They put on a great promo spot. Should be a really good match as well. I have the Dream holding tight on that title for now. So Velveteen Dream wins.
Oh, same.
Same here too.
Yeah, I think it's too soon to take it off of Velveteen. Although I can see them working. I can see them still keeping that to where like it's another future feud.
Oh, SummerSlam maybe.
Yeah, like do a rematch or something, and then I don't know, but I think Velveteen hangs on to this one.
The Messiah of the Backbreaker, Roddy Strong versus Matt Riddle, the original Bro. I go back and forth here because I really think so. Ultimately, I think that Cole's prediction is going to be true, that the Undisputed Era will be draped in gold. So I think that Roddy Strong will pick up that North American title against Velveteen Dream at some point. So that means, does that mean that he has to beat Riddle to do so? I don't know. But Riddle's too hot right now, so I'm picking Riddle.
I think Riddle needs a big win at a takeover or at a bigger event. He's got to do it because, he's been winning on NXT and he's hot, but he needs a big win. So I'm going to go with Riddle as well.
Yeah, I don't see how they can go. I don't see how Roddy Strong can go over Riddle after Riddle made such a big impact at the last takeover. So I'm going to say Riddle as well.
Unfortunately, I gotta agree. It's gotta be Riddle just because you got lightning in a bottle. You gotta keep going. But man, do I really want the Undisputed Era to just clean house? I'm not gonna lie.
I think they will at some point, but I think the event that they all clean house will be for the gold.
I could see Undisputed Era winning, except for Roderick Strong, because they've been working that angle that Roderick Strong is the weak link.
Right.
And which is making me go ooh, maybe I should change my tag team prediction. But no, I'm going to stand by what I've said so far.
And then the main event is Adam Cole, Bebe, versus Johnny Gargano, and what is sure to be another classic from those two, especially after AEW put on a clinic. I think that those two are going to step it up another notch, and I think we get a better match. So they're going to top their match of the year contender, I think. So that being said, so this is kind of future booking. I see Roddy Strong getting the North American title, and then I see Roddy Strong and Adam Cole blowing up, and Roddy Strong losing the North American title all between now and Brooklyn, where it'll be Roddy Strong versus the winner of this match, Adam Cole, Bebe, for the NXT title. So I'm picking Adam Cole for this one.
I am going to go with Adam Cole as well because he needs for all the things he's said, his not even the puffery he's talking, but the statements he's made, he needs to win this. And also Johnny Gargano more than likely going to get called up and ruined, or he's going to move on to something else. But I think Adam Cole is going to go over in this one. He needs, again, another one that needs a big victory on a big show.
I'm worried that it's too soon for them to take the belt off of Johnny Gargano. I feel like he just got it and didn't really have a title reign. So I want to pick him, but again, I'm a huge fan of the Undisputed Era, so I feel like I'm going to just pick Adam Cole just for the fact that I want him to win.
Tiger Bomb Tom.
So give me 1 second here. Talk amongst yourselves. Keep talking about that. Hang on. I gotta.
That's the
Don't
thing.
you think it's too soon for that to come off of Gargano, or do you think he's
no?
Man, Gargano. It was all about that moment. It was all about him reaching the apex. It's not about him keeping the title. And I think we're going to see the same thing with Kofi Kingston with that main title, with the WWE title. It's all about them getting to that moment. It's not about the title reign.
It's the rare time that the money is not in the chase. You know what I mean? The money's in them having it and losing it. Because you know that whenever they do lose it, it's going to be a big moment for the next person.
Tom, I will say this. Tom, can you at least still hear us?
He's nodding.
Yes, I am nodding. Sorry. Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. All right. So I will tell you this. I don't know if it matters or not, but right now you and Poot have the exact same picks down the line.
I know.
Now,
well, here's the thing. Here's my question.
I've made
I
my
know.
picks first. I want it noted. I'm the original. Shut up, Tom.
No, here's my question. If there is a per the rules of the podcast where championship the champion's advantage is, if he ties with whoever, that champion retains. What if two other people beat the champ but they tie? That's my question.
Then I come down your way and powerbomb your narrow ass.
No, it's Adam, because Rarick. Damn it! Fuck.
Wow.
That was worse. That was worse.
That was way worse.
You are out of the band. You're out.
That was way worse.
You're out of the band, he
on a
says.
weekly basis. Beef is out. He'll be the special guest. Tom, you're in full time.
Ransom and I talked about this at AEW.
Don't even say it
because
now. Don't even say it.
Ransom and I talked about this at the AEW paperwork because
my address
the
too,
potential of us, because there was an option of us maybe tying him and I. But I think we came to the agreement. It was like co-besties, so like co-champions. If the champion loses,
that's all right.
Like
you know
that.
what? I'll tell you what. If that happens too, I'll go out to Walmart. I'll get my own little makeshift title or whatever, and I'll be like, "This is what I have." Why not?
Yes.
Oh, I have something in the works. Don't worry.
oh boy.
Yeah, but we don't want to
Yeah,
cut that one in half.
Oh, it's gonna stay with me. Oh, don't worry. It'll stay with me.
Then it's no cruiserweight champion if it's going to stay.
Oh,
with
it
you.
is. It'll be on display. We'll Photoshop it over your dumb shoulder.
Okay, so I'll say this.
Triple.
I agree Cole needs a win. But again, like, I don't know, like, are they gonna call up Gargano? Like, if they're planning on calling up Gargano, then it makes sense for Cole to win. Yeah, exactly that. It makes sense for Cole to win, but I feel like for as much as Johnny's been through, he hasn't had long enough of a reign. This is such a hard one to pick. It really is. But just to separate myself from the pack, I'm going to be the odd man out, and I'm going to call Gargano wins.
Taking risks.
Because it's the only way I can win this damn title. So
There will be no ties this week, sirs, because we all have at least a little bit of a difference in here. So
That's okay.
No, yeah, they're unless the tag team titles go to somebody.
yeah, I was gonna say, unless we all bomb on the tag team title match, which, I mean, come on, let's be realistic. It's gonna be either Street Profits or Undisputed Era. It's not gonna be. It's not gonna be the other two teams.
Dude, if it was, that would be huge. But yeah,
like,
we've been going.
I was gonna say, if Forgotten Sons got the nod, like, how
That'd be
much
great.
egg in our face,
It would, but I don't see it happening. If it did, it would be for a cup of coffee. We've been going for exactly 2 hours and 27 minutes.
God damn.
Get over it.
Well, so
It's worth
says your mad champion.
Yeah, we should
Yeah.
start making these people pay for this shit. If it goes over 2 hours, you're paying for
Here
it.
we go. Here we
This
go.
isn't the network.
Hashtag.
You're not getting this for $9.99. This is a $49.99 podcast. It goes over 2 hours. Suckers.
I love it. I love it.
Hashtag all hail. Hashtag
Beef.
mad champion.
Beef, you want to thank our sponsors one more time?
I really hope the Ransom retains because I'm digging the mad champion gimmick. And
You
also
shut your whore mouth
we need-
right now.
We need more. We need more of
more
like Ransom's
cowbell.
like midnight ramblings because my God, those are wonderful. Sponsors.
They're fantastic.
I'm going to have a belt for the next one.
All right,
More cowbell.
Beef, go ahead. Thank our sponsors.
Thank you so much to WrestleDeals.com, your home for violent deals and bloody good prices, as well as Casual Gaming Dad's Corner on Facebook. We always appreciate having Tom on as a Fatal 4-Way contestant here, and it always makes things more jovial. And so, yeah, thank you guys both so much.
Now,
He's on the
you are-
podcast and a sponsor. Is that nepotism?
well, no, I think
Probably.
it's
No, 'cause I'm not gonna be on-
capitalism.
I was gonna say I'm not gonna be on every single episode, but man, I gotta say I definitely enjoy doing these, and even if I'm not on an episode, I'll still make little off the side predictions anyways, just to see how I stack up. But
Well, you'll have to if it's
Yeah. So what he's saying is he's
oh yeah, if I'm a champ,
He's Ken Griffin it here. He's already predicting he's going to win this week, and that's how he's going to defend. He's going to be our fucking Brock Lesnar.
That's what it's going to be. He's going to be Brock Lesnar. He's going to win the championship.
You shut your mouth.
All right. Hey, all right. Let's plug our Twitter.
I'll reel it back in.
Let's plug our.
I'll reel it back. Let me reel it back in. No, I will be a fighting defending champion if I win, and but if I don't, no big deal. I look forward to coming back to another podcast and everything like that. It's a great time, and that's the one thing I always stress with people whenever I plug your guys' podcast is that above all else, it's entertaining. You guys are having fun with it, and I love to just add a little bit of flavor to it as well. And it's a great time. I'm sitting here just laughing my ass off. I love it. So I'll plug myself and then let you guys plug your Twitter handles if you don't mind and all that.
Go ahead.
All right. So I don't have a Twitter handle. F that. But I do. No, I do have I do have an Instagram. And my Twitch channel goes by the same name, Casual Gaming Dad 84, because damn it, somebody already had the name taken before me. But you can catch me on YouTube and Facebook, Casual Gaming Dad, and there should be links. I actually just made sure to update them today. The links on my YouTube channel on my main page. You can get to the other pages and my merchandise section on Gould Gaming, which I have a pretty sweet NWO themed shirt. It's nice. You'll like it.
All right, I am at Poot the Bard, and you can also find me on Instagram at Poot the Bard, and also you can check out my YouTube gaming channel, which I just uploaded a new video recently, and that is also Poot the Bard on YouTube. It's all about branding, baby.
I'm gonna go subscribe to that. I need to do that. That's what I forgot to do this podcast.
Yeah, get me that 120.
I will.
You can find me at Beef the Legend 42 for all you dumbass smarks out there who are just trolling for WWE. At me, DM me. Come on, Beef Martin on Facebook. Feel free to add me. We'll have a intelligent conversation. I promise. Or I'll just call you out on the podcast by name. But either way, look me up at Beef the Legend 42 on Twitter. Beef Martin on Facebook. You could probably see me posting around if you're on any of these sites. PWP. Pro Wrestling Talk, Wrestle Talk, Pro Wrestling Now and Then. You'll probably see me. So yeah, I got a recognizable name. Feel free to add me.
Good Lord. I'm at Triforce Ransom, or you could just direct message Beef the Legend, and I'm sure he'll give you my first name, last name, total
address, credit card number, social security number,
license plate number, whatever the fuck else you want to know. I'm sure he'll
his favorite salad dressing, his favorite soda.
Oh my God.
Yeah. What's your mother's maiden name? What's your favorite place to vacation as a child? What's your first pet's name? Fucking talk to Beef. He'll tell you all of them. Who cares?
Our mad champion, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my God. All hail.
I'm dying. I think I'm going to stroke out.
You're the worst.
Bend the knee.
For Beef the Legend, Poot the Bard, Tom Bodnar, the Casual Gaming Dad, the Mad Champ Alec Ransom, thank you for listening to the P3 podcast. Over 2 hours long, $49.99, bitches.
Suck it, Ransom.